the question is, what will he do internally?
Well,
and at the moment, that doesn't appear to be very much.
Somebody told Andrea Mitchell, because she told me that yesterday. She wouldn't tell me who. I wouldn't expect her to, but
right.
Somebody told her. So somebody, I don't know if leak's the right word or not, but somebody provided her with the information that Novak says that he got. The name just popped up in this interview, but it didn't pop up in an interview with Andrea Mitchell. At least she didn't say that. She said somebody gave her the information, didn't she, Charles?
Well, she was among, what, several.
6 reporters who reportedly were given information in an effort to discredit the Wilson story, who you recall was critical of the administration over the claims in Niger. So that's right. And again, it's the same question. The White House is adamant that they're not going to conduct some thorough investigation internally based on something that they're reading in the newspapers. They're calling on the news media to provide more information about this if they have something to bring to their attention. But the Justice Department, as we all know, is investigating this and has a preliminary inquiry into it. There are calls now for an independent counsel, and that's what I say. I mean, every day I asked the president yesterday when he was in the Roosevelt room whether he's determined whether anybody on his staff did leak this and what he's prepared to do about it, to find out more, wherever the leak came from.
And what did he say?
He didn't answer that question.
He didn't answer your question?
He didn't answer the question. As outrageous as that is.
Did he acknowledge you?
Yeah, he waved.
You mean you were shouting at him?
I wasn't. I had raised my voice, yes.
What was he doing? Walking toward the helicopter like Reagan used to do, or?
No, he was actually leaving the room. He had just signed the do not call legislation, and then he was leaving the room, yeah. So.
And as he's leaving the room, you're shouting the question at him?
That's correct.
That's kind of rude, isn't it?
I don't know if you have the tape, but I was just doing my job. I thought we needed an answer. That was our only line.
Your job is to raise your hand, and if the president calls on you, then ask the question. Not shout at him as he's leaving the room. That's enormously rude.
I know that when you wake up in the morning, you have questions. I try to ask those questions to get you an answer.
No, but wait until he's indicated to you
so that you can forget about it and ask me 5 minutes later, did you ask the president anything?
Well, I can't argue with him much about any of this. But
hey, Don, listen, I have to go.
That's too bad. I wanted to talk to you for another hour. I guess the ratings up in Tucson.
This is my cue. When I say Lou, I say Don Imus, appearing on the David Gregory in the Morning program. We'll be back after this.
Thanks, David.
Bye.
David Gregory, the White House correspondent from NBC News, actually boosts the ratings in Albuquerque, as, of course, Mr. Gregory worked there for a while. So, well, I liked both of the people on this morning.
Very much.
James Bradley and Steve Martin, both
with just absolutely compelling books.
But Charles and I, because we've seen everybody come through here in the past number of years, as you can imagine, and some are a lot nicer and less affected than others. And Steve Martin has a Willie Nelson quality about him. He's that genuine.
Yes, yeah, that nice, that much of a gentleman, and a man of enormous achievement and no pretensions. You guys got to relax. Come on, you're going crazy.
You're right.
You relax. Crying with you got to hug each other.
No, it's okay.
Man. I admire this guy.
You should,
well, you should. But
the guy's brilliant. Why don't we
that is not a word that is, wrong in this case. The guy is brilliant.
I'm not one to
sound
exaggerate.
like Sid sounded at 6 o'clock this morning.
I'm not one to exaggerate. I am not.
It's embarrassing.
I will say this. He may be the greatest comedic actor of the 20th century.
God, you really got to calm down.
He may be the greatest comedic actor of the 20th century.
How about Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey doesn't hold it.
Carrey. God, he is annoying.
Mention him in the same.
All
right, well, let's not start crying.
I hope you lose this fight.
He's so good. He's such a humanitarian.
You are your butt.
He's brilliant.
Oh, God, My Blue Heaven was brilliant.
Well, okay, then he sucks.
No, he doesn't. Don't cave into that. Come on.
Well, no, but
I mean, have some dignity. I mean,
well, I do have some, but I mean,
but sound like Pat O'Brien out on the. I'm coming in there. Red carpet. Your ass.
No, but
I love you, Steve. Come here.
No.
He's just jealous.
We won't see Steve Martin again until he has another book. I'm not trying to cultivate some relationship with anybody from Hollywood or any of those people.
Trying to be honest about this guy.
Yeah, it's just trying to represent it.
Jesus. You know,
so insanely jealous of somebody
else.
Jealous
of what? What am I jealous of? I said hello to him. I said goodbye. I walked him out. What's the big deal?
You're a very
You were hugging his pant leg and he's trying to shake off his leg and he's walking out the door.
And the saucers and dirt on the floor.
morning. Good morning, Rochester.
Oh, good morning, boss. Did you have a nice night?
Oh, pretty good, Rochester, but you know I had a difficult time falling asleep. I counted 3,000 sheep.
3,020 to be exact.
Was that many?
Yeah, and boss, tonight when you go to bed, why don't you take a little pill?
No, Rochester, I prefer to count sheep.
I know, but I feel so silly putting on that white coat and jumping back and forth over your bedpost.
Did I do the business report this morning? But
No,
I didn't
do it.
How did I forget that?
You're off your game.
Wow, I thought it was a pretty good show today.
You're not. You don't have everything lined up.
I can't, well, I was complaining about it, but I can't. The Irish Morning Business Report is sponsored by the New York Stock Exchange. Today at the exchange, Infineon, some CEO, Jurlich Schumacher, will ring the closing bell to celebrate the grand opening of the company's new office.
All right.
Infineon, headquartered in Germany, trades under the ticker symbol IFX. Wednesday, the opening bell will be run by British Sky Broadcasting CEO Tony Ball and CFO Martin Stewart. Celebrate the 5th anniversary of Sky Digital. British Sky Broadcasting trades under the ticker symbol BSY. And the market into the quarter today, I believe, Chuck.
Yeah.
So, and the market is what? Was it up yesterday? Down? We don't know.
I got it right here. It was Dow Jones up 67, NASDAQ up 32.
The New York Stock Exchange Composite up 41 and a quarter.
Yes, sir.
Closing at 56.85 and a quarter.
But the futures were down this morning.
Right. The banker who's temporarily leading the New York Stock Exchange is indicating he's in no hurry to remove Wall Street chieftains from the New York Stock Exchange board,
Okay.
or scrap its own reform plan overnight. Interim New York Stock Exchange Chairman John Reed says reforms are needed even before the makeup of his board has changed. Of course, I was not in favor of Grasso having to resign, but Reed, I think, is a good choice.
Okay. Probably so.
Decent fellow,
But
and cut from Reed, Lou?
I'm ready.
Let's see what the boy has to say.
The composition of the board is derived from the requirements of the board that are spelled out in any sort of managerial or governance architecture. And so it seems to me that before you look at the composition of the board, you better get your mind first around the architecture.
John Reed, new interim head of the New York Stock Exchange. There's a new way for music lovers to download songs from the internet legally.
so,
The service is called Music Match Downloads. Costs 99 cents a song, like iTunes, which is I use from Apple.
no, this is the new deal that's trying to take some of the iTunes business, trying to match iTunes.
Can I use it on my Macintosh?
That I don't know.
Music Match Downloads, so we don't know. What would I do? Just go on the internet and see if it's there?
Probably. I just don't know.
I like iTunes, though.
Oh, it's great. It's a great service, which is why they're trying to do something, to match it or emulate it.
I've downloaded 116 songs.
Yep.
From iTunes.
Gotcha. It's good.
That's a business report sponsored by the New York Stock Exchange. In sports, of course, Sid's not around, so why we can't find him is beyond me. But we can't, so. Last night's football game, I believe, the Packers won handily over the Bears in their new stadium. They're
38-23.
A revamped Soldier Field.
Right. But the Bears did not prevail in their...
On television, it still looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially a green field with white stripes.
Well, just renovated.
People dressed up in various goofy outfits.
That's right.
Many of them wearing the uniforms of the players as though they expect if enough of them are injured, they'll be called in out of the stands to actually play.
Exactly.
Morons, I guess.
Morons.
People like you who go to sporting events dressed up in their athletes' uniforms.
Look how bad it got last night, that Monday night game. At one point, the Packers were beating the Bears so badly in the first quarter, it was 17-0, that John Madden and Al Michaels started talking about Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher's sexual trysts, his weekend frolics, his time in Vegas. That's how bad it got. I guess that Urlacher bumped into Paris Hilton, the famous Hilton twins, and in Vegas last week, and she broke her shoe or something in the casino. He saw that. He was Johnny on the spot. He picked her up, carried her to get her shoe fixed, And ever since then, he's been banging her, and last night she showed up at Soldier Field wearing his jersey.
Who hasn't been banging her?
I thought Guerrero got fired.
Isn't there some other way that we could describe
Yes.
this burgeoning relationship between these two people?
They were having an intimate relationship.
As opposed to, and ever since then he's been banging her?
How about they had... No, this girl's a bust-out skank.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody knows.
Everybody knows
But
that.
still...
Banging her head against the headboard the whole deal.
No, we don't need that.
No.
Here's important news.
Horn again. He's just looking to get laid.
Get off my phone, you jerk.
It's okay, Dennis is still in, by the way.
Great, I'm used to that. Rings, no rings.
In the morning on the fan, North Radio 66, WFAN. Get the good stuff.
Right now would be a good time to come to Napa Auto Parts. The PLJ at Work Network.
I mean, I'm sure she won't humiliate herself as much as one of us will, either Bernie and myself. When the
No, I would hope not. So.
What time do the gates actually open tomorrow for fans that are coming down to the bout?
They can come in at 6 in the morning, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
6 a.m.? Okay.
So we're going to do the show. Barnicle's coming down. Lupica will be there. Mike Breen will be there. Marv Albert will be there.
Oh, Barnicle is coming down.
Yeah.
Good.
Fatso and Fruit Loops.
Fatso and Fruit Loops will be there.
Yep.
And Mike's calling the fight, Francesa.
Right.
And
It's a star-studded cast. It really is.
yesterday, Russo comes in. He says, you know, we got to give Mike a bad time when he's calling the fight.
Why?
And that was my question. I said, I didn't quite understand that.
Just in case you were under this ridiculous illusion that the hatred is still not there between Mike and Chris. Every once in a while, that will...
I don't think it was. No, it wasn't.
That should be the undercard right there.
It wasn't. He wasn't being malicious. I didn't think. It's just that, you know.
Mike said the other day, hopefully, you know, after the Bob Murphy thing, he said, I can't wait to see what they do for me in this place when I finally hang it up. And Russo said, I hope it's in March. So that kind of tells you where these guys are.
I know they'll take out a couple of vending machines because we won't need them anymore.
No.
Send him to his retirement.
No. I pointed out that Mike's off limits.
Oh, okay.
So leave Mike alone.
I didn't get the memo. I'm sorry. And by the way, looking slim and trim.
That's what's good.
Says Mike is fine.
He can go in the ring and knock Baldy out there tomorrow morning.
Anyway, here with all the news, there's news about the... I don't know why we can't talk to Andrea Mitchell or some of these people, why Bigfoot or you are not getting me some people to talk about this Wilson deal. We talked to Bob Schieffer a little bit about it, but...
Clearly, MSNBC hosing the Iron.
That's the first time Bob ever announced that he had cancer, you know.
It was a moving moment.
He's a remarkable guy.
Yeah.
Is he married?
Bob Schieffer, yes, he's married happily.
Plus, he's like 85.
He's always so nice to me when he comes in.
Oh, my jeez.
He's not 85. He's
in his 80s.
No, he's not in his 80s, in his 60s.
I bet you he's a demon in the rack.
Bob Schieffer?
Yeah.
He does have that look, yeah. She's right. No, they call Brian Urlacher Jungle Jim because he jumps all over his mate, supposedly.
Who?
Brian Urlacher, the linebacker from the Chicago Bears. I'm sure there's a nickname out there for Bob Schieffer as we speak.
Bob Schieffer?
Oh, yeah. She's right. He looks like an animal.
That trench coat of his?
Yeah. Bedroom Bob. You're right. That's what it is.
There you go.
There you go.
Do you have any news, Janice?
Schieffer.
U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says he thinks the Bush administration is in very deep water concerning the CIA leak controversy.
I don't know what they call Dick Durbin instead.
Janice is in another studio because Janice is ill, but Charles is in San Angelo, Texas, at a funeral, and...
Not ill enough to call Mr. Schieffer a demon in the rack, though.
No, that's... just not someplace I just don't think of Bob in those terms, but maybe he is.
And for the treatment he went through, God, too. Geez.
Oh, come on. He loves life now. He embraces life.
This is complete and utter desperation on Janice's part, obviously.
But you already know I'm a desperate woman, Sid. Why does this surprise
Oh, but you're
you?
repulsive. I mean...
Why would that be repulsive?
Well, just leave these married men alone.
All right.
Especially married men that just had chemotherapy.
The senator joins other Democrats who want a special prosecutor to investigate the leak of the name of a CIA operative who was the wife of a former ambassador, Joseph Wilson, a prominent critic of the Bush administration's Iraqi policies. Durbin says someone at the highest level of the White House or the administration made the leak. The Justice Department has launched a formal investigation, but Durbin questions how thorough it would be.
And honestly, I don't believe that Attorney General John Ashcroft really...
Not enough from him. Let's go to the White House correspondent for NBC News, David Gregory. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Don. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
So do you think the president really relishes or welcomes this Justice Department investigation? Well, he probably does, doesn't he, if it's Ashcroft? And...
Well, their position is that there are plenty of career people within the Justice Department who can handle this right now. I mean, the White House position is until there is concrete information that goes beyond news reports, which frankly they don't believe or trust, and have angrily denied to me that they were the source of the leak, that anybody within the White House was the source of the leak. As long as that's the case, they are not going to give in on the idea that somehow there's a conflict of interest. Under, I suppose, the presumption that the leak may have come somewhere from outside the White House. But that's not going to stop, the political arguments and the arguments from the Hill that there's no way, no how that the Justice Department should look into this, that they ought to appoint a special prosecutor, and that is still possible.
Well, we already know the name came from some senior administration official in that interview with Bob Novak, and Andrea Mitchell, among others, is saying that she was called and given this information by, I don't know, she didn't identify who it was, but the implication was that it was somebody in the White House. So it's pretty clear it was somebody in the White House. I mean, who do they think leaked it? Bob Woodward?
I can tell you that people in the White House maintain that this did not come from anywhere within the White House. Whether that is accurate, I can't tell you. I'm just telling you that that's what they are saying privately and publicly. Although publicly, they're leaving a little bit more room for investigation, saying, as the president did yesterday, that they want more information. As there's somebody within the White House who did this, and it will be dealt with, which, it's pretty clear means fired.
They appear to be cooperating, too, don't they, the White House?
Well, they really don't have a choice, and at this point they do appear to be cooperating.
Well, they could do like the Clinton administration and not cooperate, or like the Nixon administration and not cooperate. They could do that, couldn't they?
They got a memo from the Justice Department with specific orders as of last night to preserve all documents, emails, phone logs, other documents related to former Ambassador Wilson.
Well, yeah, but we've been down that road before, and they just shred them or get rid of them or erase them or something, don't they?
There may be cynics who believe that, but I can report to you that this is what they've been ordered to do. And everything related to Ambassador Wilson's trip to Niger, everything related to his wife, and specific contacts with reporters.
You sound a little exasperated and irritable with me this morning.
No, I'm not at all. I'm not going to go down the road you want me to go.
What road?
Well, that road with the big yellow sign.
No. Brokaw
points toward tawdriness.
No. Brokaw accused me of this yesterday or the other day, of trying to get him to say something derogatory about Robert Novak.
Right.
And I was able to get a little out of him, but not much. But I had to go at him 2 or 3 times, and I still couldn't get much. But I'm not doing that with you.
Oh, okay.
I am pointing out, though, that the White House is, on any number of occasions, and all of these various administrations, are always asked to cooperate by these people and never do. And so my question is, does it appear that the White House is actually going to cooperate, turn over emails and memos and phone logs and all that sort of thing?
I have no reason to believe that they will not.
Have they turned over anything yet?
It does not appear that that's the case, because it was late yesterday when they got more specific direction from the Justice Department about what to preserve. I mean, the chronology of this is that the night before last, they get word that the investigation happens, and it wasn't until the next morning when the White House counsel sends out the memo to all employees that, preserve everything, and we'll get more specific direction later on. And then at the end of yesterday, they got that.
Did anybody call you and try to give you the information of a woman's name?
No.
It's not a good sign, is it?
I don't know.
I mean, they told everybody. They were spray painting it on the sides of buildings.
Nobody called me.
And nobody called you? I mean...
Maybe I was out to lunch.
Well, they could have left a message for you, couldn't they?
Well, I guess.
But I don't think that's good, do you?
Well,
they called Andrew Mitchell. They didn't call David Gregory, did they? He told everybody else. They didn't tell you.
They practically put up a freeway sign.
Yeah, they did. Like that Amber Alert deal.
That Amber Alerted somehow. I missed it.
And you still missed it, didn't you?
Well, maybe I was just missing at the time.
Where are you now?
I am actually still home. I have to report for jury duty this morning.
Send him to the chair.
Would you want me, if you were accused, which is we know is distinctly possible, would you want me sitting in judgment? Do you think I could be fair?
Yeah, I think you could, probably.
Really?
Yeah. All right, well, try to get dressed and get to work, or I guess you're going down to the courthouse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not going to know what's going on for... How long do you think you'll be on jury duty?
Oh, no more than 2-3 months. Last time Bob Schieffer and I were on there together.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get into that story, or?
Well, no, we really don't have time for that.
I think I told it 2 years ago. You could recue the tape.
Yeah, and we'll go look for that now.
Yeah.
Well, have fun.
Well, this has been good radio, Don. Thanks.
White House correspondent from NBC News, David Gregory. What's the matter, Bernard?
He didn't say a word, Chief.
Well, it's not good they didn't call and tell him, is it?
No, he appears out of the loop. It's not our guy. Maybe he was busy having lunch with the French foreign minister that morning or something.
Coming up on 17 after they are.
I'm pulling out, and I'm going to concentrate every ounce of time and energy over the next week working to defeat the recall, because I've realized that that's the only way now to defeat Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm no funk thief. I break tracks, make tracks, and get funky. There's nowhere to run to, nobody cares. MCs drop to your knees, say your prayer. The luck of the Irish is about to kick in. Prepare to die and notify your next of kin. I'm going all out, fuck, duck, and call out. That's how I'm living, punk, you better stall out. This is the house of pain. To come inside is insane. I'll put your head out, I'll put your head out. Jump up, spread out, I'll put your head out. I'll put your head out, put your head out. Jump up, spread out, I'll put your head out. What up, punk? I'll put your head out. I'm up in the morning.
What does it take to make the perfect martini? Crystal clear ice.
We can turn Minko's mic on. Okay, in the ring now is John Minko. Are we having a technical problem? We obviously are. Joining us here is the...
No, we're not having it.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
We're in good shape right now.
Okay, so we're ready for the weigh-in?
Ready for the weigh-in.
Okay, joining us also is a nationally syndicated gossip sports columnist, Mike Lupica, and Dr. Michael Bronson, one of the ringside physicians, the primary ringside physician. The other ringside physician is not a real doctor, he's a dentist, Dr. Arthur Benjamin, and he'll be here probably later, right? We need Dr. Do we have to tell them each time we want them to turn their mics on, Mark?
Things are going well.
Why don't we just... Do they have switches for their mics? What are you doing, by the way? His pants fit nice, Mark. You look like you're walking around with a load in your pants. I mean, it just looks absurd. Anyway, Minko, you ready for the... Why don't you conduct the weigh-in?
Okay. We will do that.
Introduce the people in the various corners, in Sid's corner and in Bernie's corner.
First of all, Sid's corner right over here, and he's in the red box bunks here this morning, and Teddy Atlas will be his second. Surprise. There's Teddy right up.
Now we're having a horrible... Mark, You got to pay attention. We're having a terrible technical difficulty in that his effing mic doesn't work. Get it fixed, or I'm going to shoot you.
This is going to be the undercard. The I-Man versus Chernoff.
I will stab you if you don't come. I mean, somehow you got to get his mic fixed. So, Lupica, have you ever covered any big-time fighters?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some alley fights. The Leonard Hearns fight, that great fight in Vegas.
Sure.
And I was just looking at Sid, and do you think we can get some of Rush Limbaugh's stash for afterwards?
Sid, I think, is going to do better than we think, but Bernard's been staring him down, and Bernard looks serious. Lupica was making fun of Jimmy the Wag's hat.
No.
I said that was probably not a great idea. I like your hat, Jimmy. I like it.
Jimmy, you wouldn't believe some of the things that Lupica said about the way you look. I mean,
no, Lupica was the one that said you look like,
Queen for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy!
That's what he said.
No.
You want to try your mic again, Mako?
I think we're going to working right now.
We're going to get another mic. Let's do that. 12 minutes till the hour here in the Army Swing program. The headlines this morning are that Rush Limbaugh resigned his job at ESPN.
The Rush Limbaugh
idiotic and temperate comments he made about, what did he say now?
He basically, Mike Lupica has covered this.
Well, yeah,
He said that people in the media wanted Donovan McNabb to succeed because he is a black quarterback, and that he was a media creation because he's black. And then after the fall, he quit. He got hit once and quit.
I mean, I can understand how one of these morons might think that, but obviously he did think it, or he wouldn't have said it. But even if you think that, and he did, obviously, why would you then say it?
Well, he obviously believed it, or it wouldn't. He was brought there to create controversy.
Well, didn't McNabb take him to like 2 years in a row, take him to some championship?
NFC championship game 2 years in a row.
Oh, okay. So
and
apparently he can play okay then.
There have been so many black quarterbacks and so many good ones, and arguably Steve McNair right now might be the toughest and best quarterback in the league. So the idea that this guy was needed to somehow further racial relations in football.
Didn't Doug Williams win a Super Bowl with the Redskins?
And Steve McNair came within his team ended up on the 1 yard line.
And is it not true that arguably Michael Vick might be the best player in pro football? Out injured now, but
is he black?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
who's he play for?
Atlanta.
This is
he's the guy that's hurt, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This has not been an issue for a long time, except obviously in the mind of Mr. Limbaugh.
But my question is that I understand all that, but I mean, just as if it was, of course, we're reading this morning now in the news. Apparently, he's jacked up on painkillers, more painkillers than I took.
Right.
I don't know what Dr. Bronson will attest, but it's just...
That's not physically possible.
But my point is that, I mean, well, Jesus, God, it's beyond a Neanderthal.
Do you know what hydrocodone is?
It's not racist behavior, it's idiotic behavior, and it may also be racist, but I suspect that he's probably not a racist.
Hydrocodone is Vicodin.
Hydrocodone is...
What is?
Vicodin. You remember that, don't you, Don?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have 600 of them in my safe. You should have called me. I'd have sold him mine.
The drug company is still trying to restore their stocks after your prescription.
The ranch would have been a better place to meet than Denny's.
All right, let's go to Mako now. Mako should be okay. All right, here's John Mako in the ring here at Chelsea Piers for the weigh-in for Pier to Pier, featuring Berserk McGurk and the Hebrew Hammer, Sid Rosenberg.
And we are looking obviously forward to the fight. We're ready for the weigh-in right now. And first of all, as we mentioned before, the red corner will be Sid Rosenberg and Teddy Atlas. And over here toward my left will be Bernard McGurk and also Randy Gordon. And Johnny Wallach of USA Boxing will officially conduct the weigh-in here this morning. And who's going to go first? Let's go to the red corner. Sid Rosenberg will be first up here on the scale.
Sid looks fat to me, frankly.
Looks like he's with the 70s.
Sid gets right up there.
Doesn't look bad. It doesn't look awful, though. He's got some love handles, but not terrible. So he weighs around 190. What are we coming in at here, man?
Coming in, Johnny.
Looks like about 190.
It's going up. It's going down. Losing weight.
Pretty exciting radio and TV is going in, folks.
Oh, this is good.
So it doesn't look awful, does he, Lupica?
No. If you set the bar there, no, he does not.
Well, no, but I mean, he's not. He's not.
As long as he doesn't turn around.
He's not Butterbean.
How long are you expecting to hold his stomach in? For God's sake, let's get this done. By the way, look at his entourage and look at my entourage. His entourage looks like the faculty from Harvey Milk High School. And I want you to do me a favor, Sid. I'm going to have my cup autographed. I want you to give it to your wife after the fight.
This is not going to be
187.5 for Sid Rosenberg, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Sid doesn't look awful.
And now it is time for Bernard to
Bernard
tip
weighs
the
around.
scales here at Chelsea Pier.
Bernard looks pretty good, but probably a little lighter. What, around 180? About 180, yeah. Sid is a load. Sid, you're a load at 190. You're a load at 183. So I was
183.
And Bernie's about 6'3", and Sid's about 6 feet, I guess. It's a long time. Anything else from your from the ring, Minko?
That's it. These boxers right now, Hymas, are totally focused right now. You're totally focused, right, Bernard?
On what?
and very, very uncharacteristic, Hymas. You've heard Bernard here in the ring during the course of the weigh-in, but nothing from Sid. He is extremely quiet as this...
Why don't you talk just briefly with Randy Gordon and Teddy Atlas? Well, by the way, it's disconcerting to see actually legitimate boxing people in a ring with these two morons. But talk briefly with Randy and then talk with Teddy Atlas and get an assessment of how they think their fighters are going to do.
Absolutely. Randy, what are we going to see here?
We're going to see a lot of pain on the part of Sid, and we're going to see Bernie winning what I said was going to be a split decision, meaning it's not going to be a split decision as we know split decisions. My man is going to split his nose, split his lips, split his head wide open. That's a split decision.
Randy obviously has taken a few punches himself.
Dr. Teddy, you obviously do not disagree. You disagree with that, right?
Yes. No, we're going to try to stay inside the long arms. He's a taller guy. We're going to see if Sid can get inside and work a little bit in the pocket. And if that doesn't work, then we always have the towel.
Sam Bradley said he's taken a few punches himself, but then why start a fight with them?
I was a little nervous about this. Do you sense a little apprehension on his part? You know, he's not the, the happy-go-lucky, not shutting up type of individual that we see during the course of the station.
Getting ready for a fight has a way of making you shut up a little bit. It does make you a little bit nervous.
It's terrified.
Even when it's for a good charity, a great cause like this is, and it's for fun, you get nervous. You get worried. So he's feeling the same way. But the good news is the other guy feels the same way.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Are you trying to strike some fear in him?
I know he does. I know any human being that's about to get in the ring, they feel scared.
All right, Minko, thanks. Good job. John Minko with Teddy Atlas and with Randy Gordon. And I'm here with Mike Barnicle, Dr. Michael Bronson. The primary ringside physician is there, and Mike Lupica, the nationally syndicated gossip columnist and novelist, has been gracious enough to join us. Barnicle stayed up until 2:45 this morning for the Red Sox to watch them lose to Oakland in 12.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
So, and they play again today, and the Yankees play again today?
Red Sox play again this afternoon, 4 Eastern. The Yankees play tonight. You'll be at the stadium tonight.
8:15.
8:15.
All right, coming up now in 4 minutes till the hour.
In the morning.
This is the one we prepare for all year long.
Very good. I'm going to tell you that Fire Commissioner Nicholas Scapetta defended rising response times in areas where the city has closed 6 engine companies. Response times have increased by an average of 33 seconds in those 6 areas in Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan. And Scapetta told a city council committee that the response time in the 6 areas range from an average of 4 minutes 27 seconds to an average of 5 minutes 26 seconds. And he called that acceptable. Okay. Residents of Astoria, Queens are hoping that a plan to reroute thousands of trucks will make the neighborhood safer. Now, Mayor Michael Bloomberg says that starting next month, thousands of trucks will be allowed on a 1-mile stretch of the Grand Central Parkway between the Triborough Bridge and the BQE. Now, the move will reduce truck traffic and accidents along 29th Street, Hoyt Avenue, and also Astoria Boulevard over by the radio station by providing a direct link between the Triborough Bridge and the BQE.
Commercial traffic has been banned on the Grand Central Parkway. The streets of Astoria have been clogged by the heavy trucks forced to exit on Hoyt Avenue and take local streets to the BQE.
It's the local news of the traffic report.
Well, no,
you're doing a weather, and
I understand that. But this is what they gave me to read.
All right.
You know, I'm not the news editor. I'm just the deliverer of the news.
I don't think you get argumentative about it, John.
I understand that.
Simply ask a question, you bald-headed weasel.
I understand that, but, you know, I have to...
You know, if Sid loses his fight, by the way, John is pledged to come in and do sports in the morning in a Speedo bathing suit, so...
Yeah, go put it on, John. Right now.
I mean, seeing you without your clothes on is going to be the prospect of that is terrifying, frankly.
I understand, but, you know, that's the way it is, and Sid's going to record the knockout here this morning.
All right, coming up on 3 till the hour.
For bladeless laser vision correction, call Diamond Vision Sports Center in Manhattan, pitting Bernard Berserk McGurk against Sid the Hebrew Hammer Rosenberg. Brought to you by Gillette Mach-3 Turbo Champion, the world's best shave, North Fork Bank, Mohegan Sun, Atomic Solar G Shock Watch, the official timekeeper of the Fear at the Pier, and Lexus of Westport, your affordable Lexus dealer. We also thank KBL Audio-Visual Services, who rent state-of-the-art audio, video, and lighting equipment for both indoor and outdoor events, and can provide trained professionals to consult, deliver, set up, and operate on the web at KBLAV.com or call 1-800-862-3210. The New York Presbyterian Hospital Emergency Medical Services and the Health Center at Chelsea Piers, located at Pier 60, for providing standby emergency medical care. New York Presbyterian, the University Hospitals of Columbia and Cornell, and by Everlast for providing boxing equipment. Food provided by Pier 60 and the Lighthouse. 2 great venues at Chelsea Piers, featuring great cuisine by Abigail Kirsch, along with spectacular Hudson River views. For events from 100 to 2,000, call 212-336-6144.
6 minutes after the hour here on the I'm Mr. Morning program, on the radio around the country, and on MSNBC this morning, and most mornings, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and we are live at Chelsea Piers, or Fear at the Pier, which is the announcement just pointed out is sponsored by all of these various people. Coming up in this half hour, we'll talk with Chris Mad Dog Russo, author of the best-selling book, The Mad Dog 100, which actually got on the New York Times bestseller list, which is well, it actually was a pretty good book. It pains me to have to say that, but last night the Boston Red Sox wound up losing that game. Incidentally, we didn't stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning. In 12 innings behind Pedro, and he couldn't get it done. Ultimately beat him 5-4, and then we'll have all the other stuff. Mike Barnicle's in this morning to do news and stuff because Charles is still down. Charles is at the funeral of his nieces in San Angelo, Texas, which we won't do. So I'll have to go on about this, but actually it's a little town outside of San Angelo, Texas, and they literally closed. This woman was this 38-year-old woman who died of something, obviously a horrible cancer, killed her. They closed it, nearly closed the town down. They did close all the schools. There were 600 or 700 people in this little tiny town at this woman's memorial service. So, in Charles and Connie had taken care of her and tried to help her. And
did I hear you say the other morning that her daughter had just...
Friday night was selected a homecoming queen, and they managed to get her mom briefly out of this essentially coma that she was in to tell her that her kid had been selected a homecoming queen, and then her mom died Sunday. So. But anyway, so Charles and his wife said yesterday, they really did a good thing, and we're all sorry she died. I mean, anyway, 8 after the hour, Barnicle's here, and did you say you were in New York last night, I guess, right?
I was in the city last night, I was up until 10 minutes of 3 watching the Old Town team, the Boston Red Sox, lose, as you pointed out, in the bottom of the 12th to Oakland. A suicide squeeze play with the bases loaded. They lost 5-4.
So there's not a lot of news, except the big news, I guess, is Rush Limbaugh.
The big news would be Rush Limbaugh, the radio titan. Rush Limbaugh resigned from his ESPN job on the Sunday NFL Countdown because of a comment he made that some claim is racist, having to do with Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. Limbaugh said...
Well, I learned about 2 weeks ago it's black. So it didn't seem like much of a story to me. But
well, and as Mike Lupica pointed out earlier, I mean, the idea of black quarterbacks performing quite well in the National Football League is nothing new. But that's just one element of the Limbaugh story this morning, Mr. Imus, that is interesting America. Rush Limbaugh, according to National Enquirer magazine, is being investigated.
And the New York Daily News reporting it as well. So
the New York Daily News is reporting it.
It's a legitimate newspaper.
It's an account that Wilma Klein, Rush Limbaugh's former maid, gave to the Daily News, alleging that she went out and got OxyContin, Lorcet, and hydrocodone for Rush. The account Klein gave the Enquirer, according to the Daily News, is that she became Limbaugh's drug connection in 1998. It started after her husband, that's Miss Klein's husband, David, hurt himself in a fall, and Limbaugh asked how he was. He asked me casually, is he getting any pain medication, Wilma Klein said. She said, yes. He's had surgery, and the doctor gave him hydrocodone 750. Klein said, to my astonishment, Rush Limbaugh said, can you spare a couple of them? Have we ever heard those words before?
That'll be fine. I don't think we need to get too personal here. Go ahead.
Klein said she then gave Limbaugh 10 pills the next day and agreed to give him 30 of her husband's pills each month. When the doctor stopped renewing the prescription in early 1999, Limbaugh allegedly went ballistic. This again according to Wilma Klein. His tone was nasty and bullying. He said, I don't care how or what you do, but you'd better get me some more, Klein said. The housekeeper said she found a new supplier and arranged to hide Limbaugh's stashes under his mattress so his wife Marta wouldn't find them. After several months, Limbaugh told her he was going to New York for detox and didn't need any more pills. But apparently he swallowed a couple last Sunday prior to talking about Donovan McNabb.
Something does something, man. I mean, Lupica and I were talking earlier. Even if you think that, why would you say it? I mean, just
true.
I mean, true. But how you know anything about football and think that is...
What about that
point? Just forget what color the guy is. Just from a sports aspect, the guy is obviously a proven successful player.
And you're allowed to think.
Maybe we
got to get Lupica's mic on.
Why do we rely on the engineers to turn these mics on, which I've begged you not to do, to give us switches here?
You know, the point that you raised on is actually kind of interesting because, at least from my understanding, Rush Limbaugh is on this ESPN program, and you do some work for ESPN because he's a football expert, an NFL expert. That's what he bills himself as, okay? In addition to being an expert in many other things. How can you be an expert?
He thinks he's an expert.
We got to get Lupica's mic on, you guys. We don't have the...
Lupica's doing the mind thing over here.
He thinks he's an expert.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's really was put there to be a fan who was going to an informed fan who was going to challenge the so-called experts on the pregame show. And he obviously doesn't know, in the words of Coach Parcells, whether the ball is blown up or stuffed.
It's blown up, right? 12 minutes after the hour here in the Iverson Morning Program, the Iverson Morning Business Report, sponsored by the New York Stock Exchange. Today at the Exchange, the Honorable Jean Charest, who's the Premier of the province of Quebec, Canada, will ring the opening bell.
Oh, that's great.
Seems like a great idea. I guess next week the Governor of Texas, Rick Perry, will ring the closing bell, and that's pretty much all the Governor of Texas has to do, essentially. Kind of well, whatever. October, off to a pretty good start. S&P 500 index yesterday posted its biggest gain in 6 months. The Dow was up 194 points, closing at 94.69. NASDAQ up 45 points, closed at a little over 1,800. The New York Stock Exchange Composite Index was up 124 and a quarter, closing at 57.68. A judge will let current and former Enron employees sue the bankrupt energy trader. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Another case for Tacopina, probably. Thousands of plaintiffs complained that Enron didn't meet its... Well, we know what they did. They rendered people across the country eating dog food, essentially. Some of Martha Stewart's loyal fans rushing to her defense. Apparently, New York business consultant John Small has kicked off a campaign to raise at least $20,000 by the time Ms. Stewart goes on trial for what? Pillows?
I think a billboard. I think some billboard advertising, which will certainly help her in federal court with any jury.
Well, 13 after the hour here in the Iverson Morning Program. Mike Lupica here, and Chris Mad Dog Russo joins us. And I saw Francesa, who's going to actually call the fight. Mad Dog and I are going to provide color commentary. Mad Dog in the role of Sugar Ray Leonard and or Tommy Hearns. And I'm serving in a role.
Oh my gosh! Good morning, Don.
I'm serving in a role of Larry Merchant.
Sid in the role of Jerry Quarry.
How are you this morning, Chris?
Good morning, Don. How are you? Thanks for having me. This is a tremendous setup. Very impressed with it. Great job.
Yeah.
As usual.
Well, the Chelsea Pier is really responsible for all of this.
The only problem today is that Sid and Bernie fighting. I want to see, Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler come out here tonight.
Yeah, it does look. The setup would warrant a real.
Yeah.
It looked confident to me, but what'd you think?
I think he's a little nervous right now. I see, based on yesterday when I saw him, I have not seen Bernard. He looked a little nervous yesterday.
Quarter after the hour, we'll be back with all of this. Here at Chelsea Piers, it's 15 minutes after the hour.
4-4. Bluff at third by Chavez. On a bunt, third base side. Miller charging. Fairhand picks up. He's in. Ramon Hernandez surprises the Red Sox. He drops down a bunt on the second pitch, and Miller can make no play. The A's have won the game. Well, she was walking down the street, looking fine as she could be. Hey, hey. Well, she was walking down the street, looking fine as she could be. Hey, hey. Well, you got love and confidence. Whoa, yeah, baby, what I say. Hey, hey. She's about to move up. 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 Well, just hold up to me. And say, hey, big boy, what's your name? Hey, hey. Well, just hold on up to me. Just say, hey, big boy, what's your name? In the morning.
What makes us different is we understand multiple sciences from modern biology to chemistry to physics.
Price of just $5.89 a gallon. That's right, only $5.89 for Prestone antifreeze. So get in the zone, AutoZone. I'm Tina Servasio with the Mohegan Sun Fan Highway Patrol.
21 after the hour here on the Imus Morning Program, and we're live at Chelsea Piers, Pier 60, the Sports Center here at Chelsea Piers, which is on the west side of Manhattan around, I would guess, around 23rd Street and West Side Highway, but I'm not sure I was going to pay that much attention. We got it this morning. Well, I've been here a number of times, and it's a fabulous setup for this fight that's going to take place now in about an hour. Mike Francesa is going to call the fight, and Chris Russo and I are going to provide color commentary. Chris in the role of, I guess, George Foreman, and me serving in the role of, well, I guess, Larry Merchant.
Hoot Gibson.
Yeah. Mike Barnicle graciously come in this morning to serve in the role of Charles McCoy. Charles down in Texas, and we'll be back sometime today. Mike Lupica is here this morning as well. And Bo Deedle just popped in. How are you this morning, Bo?
Good morning, Don. How you doing?
Good.
I got a little cash for you from our good friends at the National Thoroughbred Racing Association. Mr. Smith, a check for $2,500 to the ranch.
Oh, that's great.
Also, from Mr. Jimmy Binns from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he has pledged $5,000 for the start of the fight. He has pledged $5,000 if Sid makes it through the first round, $5,000 the second round, $5,000 the third round. If he wins the fight, Jimmy Binns will give $25,000 to the Imus Ranch.
Is Mr. Binns presently institutionalized someplace in Philadelphia?
No, Mr. Binns says because he named him the Hebrew Hammer, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed, and that's all.
What happens if Sid goes down in the first round?
Well, you only get 10,000.
Right.
10,000.
That's still fairly generous, ain't you think?
Yeah, they're very, very, very generous. And, something good there. But I like to say, the security guys, one of my security guys here, Richie Frazier, New York City police detective, is here today being security. He fought Leroy Jones. He's a professional boxer, Richie Frazier. Just in case Sid punks out, we got Ricky Frazier over here. Where's Ricky?
I don't think we want Ricky to fight Bernard. I mean,
wasn't Leroy Jones an artist?
No, I think it's a different guy, Barnicle. Anyway, it's almost 24 minutes after the hour. Randy Gordon is former boxing commissioner in New York State, which is troubling in itself, but I guess former is some consolation here. But,
if Bernie knocks out Sid, can Bo buy mulligans like he did at the golf tournament?
We just got another check here. It seems like the boys are coming out of the woodworks. We got a check for another $1,000 for the Imus Ranch from Joey Pots and Pans. Comes here. was carrying his sauce, Joey Pots and Pans, is here with another $1,000.
I wonder if that fell off the truck. Just probably not, no. It is 24 after the hour. The big news this morning, of course, Rush Limbaugh has resigned from his ESPN gig. And then there's the story of the National Enquirer, front page of the New York Daily News. Now, Rush apparently was buying copious amounts of pain medication from his housekeeper in Palm Beach, Florida.
Three elements, three painkillers, allegedly. I mean, hydrocodone, Lorcet, and OxyContin. And the charge was made by Rush Limbaugh's former housekeeper, Wilma Klein, in the National Enquirer. The story also carried in the Daily News this morning. And
why wouldn't Rush just go to the doctor and get a prescription?
Well, he was probably just so whacked out all the time that he didn't know where the doctor's office was.
Hey, Don, you ordered Vicodin the other day, and remember online, you don't need a prescription.
No, Charles ordered.
Well, no, you don't need a prescription with these online pharmacies.
Well, why didn't Rush do that?
I don't know. He didn't need to cop it with his maid. He could have copped it online.
Why was he jacking up his housekeeper when he could have simply gone on the net?
You ordered Vicodin. You ordered Valium,
right.
Just to show my kids.
No, I didn't.
On.
But he
no, I didn't. All of us have been supportive of
No, Charles. We just did this as
my kids.
Charles ordered this.
My kids ordered
it. 25 after the hour. We'll be back in a minute.
Listen, Don,
did he order it?
Don ordered it.
Elliot from Harvard. The hitchhikers you picked up need the pills from your car. Please go to the information station right away. To get back to the warning that I've received, you may take it with however many grains of salt you wish, that the brown acid that is circulating around us is not specifically too good. It's suggested that you do stay away from that. Of course, it's your own trip, so be my guest, but please be advised that there is a warning on that one, okay?
In the morning.
Francesa joins us this morning. Mike will be calling the fight here in about an hour from now, Mike, so
I can't wait, Don.
What do you think?
It's the highlight of my life.
Well, no, I mean... and Chris and I, of course, Chris wanted to sabotage you.
He did by showing up.
Came back in my office and said, what can we do to annoy Mike during the fight? And why would we want to annoy Mike during the fight?
He's already done that, though.
You agreed. You said that's a great idea. I'll figure something out. What are you doing?
I got an idea. You two act like you don't know anything about boxing. That'll fool off.
I think we're safe there. So.
And you know how Chris has always had to go out of his way to think of ways to annoy him.
Oh, yeah. No, some things just come natural to people.
So do we think this will be well, it will be a serious match. Bernard's serious, I know. I mean, Bernard's going to actually punch him, so.
They are nervous wrecks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary how nervous they are.
Are they really?
Yes, nervous wrecks.
I can imagine, but I could see they would be, wouldn't you?
Well, I told them to just think that they were in there hitting you, and I think that would take all the fear away.
Why the 16-ounce gloves, by the way?
Well, what would you use?
Well, I've been told those 16-ounce gloves like hitting people with pillows. Why didn't you use
No, those are the 18 and 20 ounce. That's what I've been told.
Oh, all right. The 16-ounce a little better?
Dog wants blood.
Yeah, I think the 16, I think you can actually get hurt. I don't know if you get hurt or not, but it was disconcerting to see legitimate fight people, you know, in the corner like Sid Rosenberg and Bernard, Teddy Atlas, who, you know, is a legitimate fight.
Well, I driving in, Brini and I were driving in together, and we heard Minko in the ring with Teddy, two of the great ad-libbers of our time.
Yeah. Well, they had just come up from the Mensa convention downtown, and they dropped by.
I don't think all this is necessary. I mean, to disparage these people, we're going to raise a couple $100,000 for the rant, so that'll be fine.
Hey, Barnicle's awful giddy. What did you do? You took the night off? You didn't watch the Red Sox?
No. Well, you watched it from Rush Limbaugh's
That's
house.
right. I was with Rush Limbaugh.
Who had a worse night, Kim or Limbaugh?
What do you make all that, Mike?
Listen, ESPN got what they deserve. The other stuff I know nothing about. I have no idea. But they sent Rush in there to be controversial. They got what they wanted.
But even if for a guy who knows a little bit about football, you would already know that Donovan McNabb had already proved himself to be a good player.
Oh, I think Rush definitely believed what he said. The only question is, why would you be stupid enough to say it on the air?
That's what I was asking Lupica this morning, yeah. But my question is, he's just wrong fundamentally, no matter what color the guy is.
He's wrong fundamentally because the issue of a black quarterback being an issue anymore is about 10 years. There were 8 black quarterbacks playing on Sunday. Some of them are the best players in the league. Vic, McNair, who might be the most underrated player in the NFL, who's black. So it's not an issue.
McNair's the guy with Tennessee,
yes,
right?
Tremendously underrated player. Great player.
Surprised I knew that, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I was surprised that you knew that Vic was actually a football player before.
Yeah, not a medication.
Well, so that'll be fine. It's 34 minutes past the hour. We're at Chelsea Piers for Pier to Pier, which is going to. Well, the rundown is it looks like this. Shortly after 8 o'clock, we'll have a Marine Corps color guard here.
Right.
And then my mother-in-law, Marianne Coleman, who I've heard her sing around the house, but I mean, I don't know.
I think that qualifies it, Don.
But she's going to sing the national anthem, and then Larry Kinney is going to serve in the role of like the Jimmy Lennon Jr.
He will be the ring announcer.
Right.
Yes.
And then Mike Francesa is going to call the fight, and you and I are going to provide.
Expert commentary.
Are you going to let Mike talk, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
Well, I mean, sometimes.
What do you think? I'm not a nasty guy.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. It's just sometimes when I listen to the show, I'm trying to hear what Mike has to say, and the magpie in the back there is yakking. I can't hear what's going on. Do you know anything about boxing? I know a little bit about boxing, you know.
Well, you read the Mad Dog 100. There was some boxing stuff.
Another plug. Another plug.
Listen, you got this thing on the New York Times bestseller list. That's pretty good.
As I told you many times, Don, okay, Jehovah's Witnesses haven't pushed literature this hard, okay?
It's 25 now till the hour.
I've got you under my skin. You were singing along, weren't you? Of course you were. It's Frank, Francis Albert, the chairman of the board. So why don't you take those crooning skills?
Your low 49 degrees, and tomorrow's sunny, high 64. Currently 50 degrees in New York City. This report, a service of the New York Times. Today in Business Day, the debut of Small Business, a weekly column about small companies and the entrepreneurs who started them. Pick up a copy of the Times at a store or newsstand near you. I'm Tina Servasio with the Mohegan Sun Fan Highway Patrol.
19 till the hour here in the Amish Morning Program on the radio all over the country, syndicated around the country by Westwood One Entertainment and on MSNBC, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We're at the fight Pier to Pier, sponsored by the Mach 3 razor from Gillette, by Norfolk Bank, by Lexus, and by this Casio Super G shock watch.
That's the one that Fort Collins, Colorado, nuclear time, right to the
Atomic
moment?
Energy.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of them.
You have one?
No, I don't have one.
Would you like to have one?
No, I don't want. No. As long as I know what day it is.
Do you know what time it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah.
If you'd like one of those watches, Rush's maid can get one for you.
That's the squeaky little voice of Mike Lupica, who is one of the judges here for our fight. Mike, of course, a nationally syndicated gossip columnist for the New York Daily News and best-selling novelist. And joining one of the only legitimate sports figures we have here is Marv Albert. Well, Marv has actually called fights, and have you ever? Nice hand for Marv. How are you this morning, Marv?
Don, good. Actually, Mike Green and I are very confused about the scoring system, although we're usually confused anyway. But they say it's a, 20-point system. 20-point mud system. And I'm used to the computerized setup from doing Olympic boxing.
Right.
And I thought for sure, with this very impressive setup that you have here, there would be the computers so we can measure the volume of punches. But
we don't have that. I heard.
We'll work it out.
Anyway, Marv now with TNT doing basketball, with MSG, and with Westwood One doing Monday Night Football on the radio. And how was it leaving NBC?
Well, it kind of happened naturally because after the conclusion of the finals 2 seasons back, that was it for the NBA on NBC, and there really was not much else for me to do there. So, I wasn't looking to do arena football, nothing personal to Mike Green. I was looking to do arena football.
You're looking for Marv to die. That's what you're hoping for. And Mike Green, who's with MSG, and who else?
and still with NBC and also now with ESPN.
Okay, and you're doing what with ESPN?
I'll do the NBA this year for them. And it's great to be here, but boy, Charles's hair has gone completely gray, huh?
Well, that's Mike Barnicle, not Charles. Charles was unable to make it today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good to see you, Mike.
So I used to watch Mars' brother, of course, on Showtime, does fight still, Steve.
Steve is, in fact, in Las Vegas getting ready for the Evander Holyfield-James Toney matchup that I know you'll be taking it on pay-per-view on Saturday night.
I will watch it.
We'll check it out?
Well, yeah, should I or no?
No, I think it's worth. I always, even if a fight is not sensational,
right,
there's such a theatrical aspect to it, and it's so bizarre, which is always what attracted me to boxing when I did boxing at NBC, that even if it's not a good fight, you know something wacky is going to occur, and it's worth watching.
James Toney, you got that Mandingo thing going on, doesn't he? He's got that.
He was very good as Joe Frazier in the movie Ali.
He was?
That was his best work.
Doesn't he have a manager who's like Pam Anderson or somebody, or no?
Why do you direct
Pam
the
Anderson.
Mandingo questions to? Why do you?
Well, I figured you would know.
Who's got a woman trainer, manager?
Yes.
Yeah,
that I know.
Good for him.
But I thought they were romantically linked or something at one time, weren't they? We don't know.
I don't get involved in personal issues with athletes.
No, except with Patrick Ewing, of course. Why would James Toney and Evander Holyfield fight? I mean, I will watch it, but just because it's Saturday night and there's nothing on.
Well, Toney, off a victory in his last bout, it's amazing only in boxing, one win and suddenly you're catapulted back into a big fight. Evander Holyfield is 41 years of age, but I think it's like a $4 or $5 million payday, and that's why he's fighting. Actually, the undercard is pretty good. It's not. I don't mean to be plugging the pay-per-view here.
Oh no, that's fine.
But it'll be an interesting night. Not as interesting as what will take place here a little later.
What do you expect with this fight?
I didn't realize.
Thank you for doing this, by the way, and I don't know what it does to your reputation, but I think it's going to be a legitimate fight. So
great to be here.
Okay.
I didn't realize that Teddy Atlas was involved, and that I think put some motivational aspect into the corner of Sid Rosenberg. I mean, that's a big factor having Teddy there, and I look forward to Teddy screaming at Sid in the corner.
And in Bernard's corner is the former boxing commissioner of New York State, Randy Gordon. And that's disconcerting if you've ever had a conversation with Mr. Gordon.
Very shy, introverted young man.
To realize that Randy was once actually an official of the state of New York. But
I think both Mr. Gordon and Mr. Atlas have to be back at Creedmoor by 10:30.
What do you expect, Brain?
Well, to me, the hype, it reminds me of the Arena Bowl semifinals this year between Tampa Bay and Orlando. It's the same type of hype from the country anticipating it.
That's all.
But I actually think Sid's going to collapse like one of your lungs by the second round.
Why do we have to employ a medical analogy involving me?
It's more of an I-Man analogy.
Now, what do you expect, Libby?
I think the fight will not go the distance.
Right.
I think Bernie will knock him out.
Now, I insisted on, by the way, Mark, 3-minute rounds. You know, most amateur fights. I know, that's tough. Yeah.
Have you ever even held your hands up to your chest for 3 minutes without even moving?
Well, you don't mean me, of course.
I was listening earlier, and I heard you mention that one of the ringside physicians is a dentist.
Dr. Arthur Benjamin, yes.
It reminds me, I once did a boxing match for NBC in Maracaibo, Venezuela. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was actually the ringside physician. One was a dentist, and one was a veterinarian. and what was most troubling is the fact that the vet was not only attending to the injured fighter, but was giving advice in one of the corners. That's how bad it got.
Well, the ringside physicians here, the orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Michael Bronson, would probably come close to being a vet, doesn't he? No, that would be a joke, wouldn't it? Of course. Hey, what's the matter?
Nothing. I'm just so sore from when I broke my collarbone.
Well, he operated on my shoulder as well. He put a plate in my shoulder, but anyway, Dr. Bronson and then Dr. Arthur Benjamin. But then the New York State, they insisted we be licensed for this fight, so they are providing their own judges. So there'll be 3 judges from New York State will be scoring the fight, along with you guys.
So 3 corrupt judges and 3 legitimate ones.
Which ones are we?
I think we know the answer to that.
So I don't know whose account we have to rely on. Well, we're going to rely on your guys' account.
Right.
Can I cheat off of Marv's paper?
no, we expect you to make an independent judgment as a seasoned sports professional of what happens.
Now, you've done all these big fights. Do the judges talk to each other?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. Seriously, I don't know.
Before the bout?
No.
During the fight.
When they're scoring.
No, they're not allowed to, no. Stuart, we will, probably. But normally, no. It's an independent process, and they just hand the cards in.
Because there's a little space for every round where it says remarks, and I'm going to need more space than that.
No, we don't want you to write an essay, Mike. We just want
You know, Don, given your skills at promotion, why is this fight not on pay-per-view? As Marv just outlined, there's a pay-per-view fight Saturday evening.
We did think about that, but I figured a couple $100 grand for the ranch, that's enough. And we sold 250 tickets at $500 a pop. And I even, by the way, made the ringside physicians pay to come to the fight. So Dr. Bronson and Dr. Benjamin each had to buy tickets.
That tells us a lot about their level of skill as medical people.
No.
They're paying to come.
Dr. Bronson is one of the foremost orthopedic surgeons in the country.
What time does Mariano Rivera get here? My understanding is he's coming to throw in the towel for Sid about 10 seconds into the first round.
I'm talking with Mike Barnicle, Marv Albert, Mike Breen, and Mike Lupica. It's 10 minutes till the hour. And last night in sports, incidentally, ending at 2:45 this morning, the Red Sox behind Pedro Martinez managed to lose to the Oakland Athletics 5-4. Pedro gave up 3 runs early in that game, didn't he?
Pedro pitched well through 7 innings.
No, he didn't pitch well through 7 innings.
Oh, he didn't?
Well, no, they were when I shut it off at 11 o'clock, they were behind 3-1. How's that pitching well?
He pitched well. He
didn't pitch well. They gave up 3 runs.
It was the bullpen that lost that game last night. As has happened before.
They were behind at 11 o'clock. Mike?
You weren't up until 11 o'clock.
Yes, I was. I mean, he didn't pitch well.
He pitched reasonably well, Don.
He lost.
Stop it.
I mean, I don't know
right now.
I don't know a lot about
this many times. No, he didn't lose. He didn't lose the game. He wasn't the loser. I mean, he was not the official loser of that game. He had his team in the game. Same way, we as a collective group try to keep you in the game throughout.
But you're either drunk or delusional.
I was with Rush Limbaugh till 4:30 this morning.
But the Braves, everybody wants a Cubs. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people want a Cubs-Boston Red Sox World Series. That's probably not going to happen.
That would be the end of the world, don't you think? What's going to happen with the Red Sox is now that they've already crushed their fans, they'll come back and they'll win the next 2 games.
Right.
And go up 2-1 and then lose games 4 and 5.
Anyway, the Braves and Cubs. The Braves won that game. That game was tied 3-3, and I believe it was the 8th inning, and then the Braves, they walked a guy, and then they walked a guy to get to a guy, and the guy they got to hit a double. Right. So it scored a couple of people, and so that series decided a game apiece. The Florida Marlins, this is a dreadful team, they should not even be allowed to play. They defeated the Giants 9-5, so that series is tied at a game apiece. And the Yankees and Twins will play tonight at 8:15, and I think in Oakland and Boston, they play game 2 today at 4 p.m. So are those on ESPN, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, both on ESPN?
No, the Yankee game's on Fox. The Yankee game's on Fox.
Yeah, okay. Like some of the announcers they have that were all trying to sound like Al Michaels, and they're just horrid. So
I don't know if you realize this, but play-by-play is a very difficult thing to do.
We've heard you do it, yes. We realize that it is.
For some people, it is.
It's a daunting task for you.
We have the before and after versions of play-by-play here.
This is
I don't understand.
Marv Albert, Mike Lupica, and Mike Breen. I'm Mr. Wayne. Barnicle's here, and we're getting ready for Pier to Pier, which will happen in about 40 minutes from now. It's coming up on 7 minutes till the hour.
I've been doing this for probably 23 to 25 years. My life, I'm 36. And I haven't received any dignity from it. I've received a lot of pain from it. I'd have probably received it just in my average everyday life if I didn't fight. But it made me not like Mike Tyson no more.
difference between a BMW and any...
Of course, carrying live this morning the program as they do Monday through Friday, and of course a big fight Pier to Pier coming up, and joining us from CNBC, our old friend Ron Insana. Good morning, Mr. Insana.
Good morning, Mr. Imus.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
So have you ever attended a big-time boxing match?
I have not. This is the first one.
Well, okay. So, what do you expect to happen? Do you expect it? Do you think?
I think Minko is going to be doing sports for the next couple of years, is what I think.
It is?
Yeah.
So what do you... Oh, there are the fight. I just see them. For some reason I've been out here. Now the entourage was walking back toward... it was disconcerting to see actually legitimate fight people in the corners of both of them.
You've been mentioning that, yeah. But I think, listen, you got to give Bernie the edge here. He's stronger. He's faster.
Right.
A little smarter. And he's Catholic. He's Catholic.
I don't. Let's make this a religious deal here. Oh, we have enough problems.
Yeah.
Concerns about ready to blow up in limbo, at least me. They usually go in threes, Well, the rest blows up, I blow up, and CERN does something.
Well, that leaves opportunities
so it's all over for all of us.
Radio aspirations, yeah.
Pardon me?
I said it leaves opportunities for those of us that have radio aspirations.
An unrelated question, but I was surprised to see the market was up 200 points yesterday.
Yeah,
Why?
it's pretty good. Well, we got some good data on the manufacturing sector. It's still expanding. The economy is starting to look better. It looks like it's got some traction, and market, had a little correction, and all of a sudden we're back to the races. It's not a bad environment right now for the stock market. So, it could keep going up. A lot of portfolio managers missed the rally. Going into the end of the year, they want to look good.
Sure.
Come December 31st, they got to pile on. Is that a good answer?
Pretty good, yeah, and I managed to listen about half of it.
That's a first. That's 50% more than normal.
Did you notice that when you got about 3 sentences in, my eyes started to shift? And
but I've been looking at the tie a lot. I've been watching the tie a lot more than I've been looking at your eyes. So.
What's wrong with my tie?
I don't know. It's a little fey, but it's all right.
Well, what am I supposed to do? It's a yellow tie. It's my power tie. The one I could find this morning. That's the one I wore. So
all 150 pounds of you looks powerful this morning.
This is WFAN in New York and Infinity Broadcasting Radio Station. We're all part of Viacom, of course. And here with the local news, one would hope, because Janice called in sick this morning. Charles is still in San Angelo, Texas. So John Minko is here to do local news. Good morning, John.
And good morning, Imus. Right now, partly cloudy and windy, high low 60s, and it's about 51 degrees throughout the course of the day here.
Hold on, Mink.
There appears to be something wrong with Mike.
Mark Chernow. When we were down here with the engineers getting ready for this thing, I knew we were going to have a problem when the FAN engineer said, "Oh, don't worry, we just need one place to plug in our thing, we'll be fine." Obviously, we're not fine, but anyway, go ahead, try it again, Mike.
Well, we'll try it again.
Okay.
This time it works, folks, and it's partly cloudy. That's the forecast for today. High low 60s. Right now it is 53 degrees. The Yankees and the Twins will play tonight. That'll be at Yankee Stadium, Game 2 of that divisional series. And according to a new poll, and with his popularity at an all-time low in New York, President George Bush would lose the state to any of the top Democratic challengers if the election was held today.
It's not going to be held today, Minko.
I understand. So there's some time to change the polls, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I believe Bill Clinton had the same poll rating at this point in his presidency in the first term.
He did?
Yes.
I'll be darned.
In fact, maybe a couple points lower.
You're really pretty much a big Bush supporter, aren't you?
No, not at all.
Which is refreshing in the liberal news media dominated by a bunch of whiny pansies to have somebody like you who clearly is willing to lay it on the line and support President Bush.
It's not my job to support anyone.
Okay.
My job is to take a look at the economic realities that we face and try to help people make some determination about them.
And a fine job you're doing.
Thank you very much.
And maybe you'll give us another book about that.
Actually, might be 2 more coming.
I'll be darned.
And I'll be on this show.
Oh, I know you will.
Promoting it quite heavily.
Yes, I know that.
Although if the interview's like the last time, I'll end up at number 1,000 on Amazon because of all the support I get from you.
No, but I mean...
You killed me the last time.
You can't read the books you write.
Killed me. Well,
you can't read them.
You can.
No, but nobody wants to read them.
If anything, if any synapse fired in your brain, it'd be a miracle.
It's a rather intemperate remark. Mr. Insana took the time out of his busy life to come over here this morning, and
he probably scammed a ticket, didn't he?
I did not. I handed Kara a check as I walked in, and all I get so far is a cup of coffee. You guys don't even put out some M&Ms, a friend. So what? Come on.
Have a donut or so, a bagel. Anything else, Meg? Sorry for this ugliness while you're trying to do local news. But...
Well, we're getting ready for the baseball game tonight at the stadium. It will be chilly, about 45 degrees.
And Rob Bartlett opens tonight in a Little Shop of Horrors on Broadway, the Jerry Zaks musical.
Excellent. I bet he's great in it.
Oh, we went to see it. It's unbelievable.
I bet he's great.
I mean, I'm not just saying that. It's unbelievable.
Does he have the lead?
He plays the guy who owns the flower shop.
Oh, he's not playing the plant?
Bushnick. What?
He's not playing the plant?
Ooh. No, he's not playing the plant, It is, I really just hate him. It's 3 minutes after the hour now.
You know, I've been thinking about getting SPC Yahoo DSL. Dial-up is so much cheaper
Introducing
than
SPC, designed to allow your shoulder and hips to sink in. At the same time, it supports your weight so you don't sag. It feels very different from any other bed I've ever slept on. So do yourself a favor, gather up your highest expectations for a bed and go lie down on a Dux at Duxiana. You won't be disappointed.
Only available at Duxiana stores in Ridgewood, Summit, and Red Bank, New Jersey, Manhasset, Long Island, Greenwich, Connecticut, and now 2 locations in Manhattan, including our new downtown store. For a free brochure, go to duxbed.com or call 866-DUX-BEDS. That's 866-DUX-BEDS.
It's Fear at the Pier on the Imus in the Morning program at the Chelsea Pier Sports Center in Manhattan, pitting Bernard Berserk McGurk against Sid, the Hebrew Hammer Rosenberg. Brought to you by Gillette Mach 3 Turbo Champion, the world's best shave, North Fork Bank, Mohegan Sun, Atomic Solar G Shock Watch, the official timekeeper of the Fear at the Pier, and Lexus of Westport, your affordable Lexus dealer. We also thank KBL Audio Visual Services, who rent state-of-the-art audio, video, and lighting equipment for both indoor and outdoor events, and can provide trained professionals to consult, deliver, set up, and operate on the web at kblad.com or call 1-800-862-3210. The New York Presbyterian Hospital Emergency Medical Services and the Health Center at Chelsea Piers, located at Pier 60, for providing standby emergency medical care. New York Presbyterian, the University Hospitals of Columbia and Cornell, and by Everlast for providing boxing equipment. Food provided by Pier 60 and the Lighthouse. 2 great venues at Chelsea Piers, featuring great cuisine by Abigail Kirsch, along with spectacular Hudson River views. For events from 100 to 2,000, call 212-336-6144.
It is 6 minutes after the hour here on the Imus Morning program, on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. We're at Chelsea Piers, Pier 60, the Sports Center, for Fear at the Pier, sponsored by the Mach 3 Razor from Gillette, by Lexus of Westport, by North Fork Bank, by the Super G Shock Watch from Casio. And joining us here is the former manager of the former heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Bowe, Rock Newman. Mr. Newman was a guest on our program yesterday and joins us again this morning. How are you?
Good morning. I just made a very astute observation. Okay. I met Wyatt and Deidre for the first time.
Little Wyatt,
and you have an incredibly attractive family other than yourself.
Thank you.
It's obviously she has a thing for older men.
Yes, she does.
She met Dave Dinkins,
the
former mayor. Dave Dinkins is joining us here today. There was great chemistry there, Imus. I just thought I'd inform you as your friend.
That's fine.
Keep your eye on that action.
We heard rumors about the mayor when the mayor's happily married, isn't he?
Yes, the mayor, I think, is happily married. But chemistry is chemistry, and it just existed.
Tell the mayor to keep his hands off.
And Dave Dinkins.
Tell the mayor to keep his hands off my wife.
I'm older than your wife, too, by the way, just so you know.
So anyway, you've seen both fighters. What do you think?
If I had to make a prediction here now, I would have to go with Bernard. It's tough to determine just what Sid is going to bring. It's not so much
he's got Teddy Atlas in his corner.
I know, and so he's got a great guy. You know, and I heard people talking about Sid being a little large. It was the shorts were just a little short. It wasn't Sid being too large. It was those shorts being a little short.
Sid comes in at about 190 pounds, and Bernie at around 180 pounds.
Yeah.
Bernie's 6'2.5". Sid claims he's 5'11", but I think he's a little taller than that. So
Bernie looks, sculptured. You know, like he's ready to do another triathlon.
Now, if this fight, unfortunately, it would be unfortunate, ends in a melee, can we count on you to get in the ring with your cell phone and beat the hell out of somebody?
I got my trusted cell phone right here with me. Check it on crazygrazer.com every 10 minutes. There were so many people listening to you yesterday.
We just have a few seconds.
That hit our site. It crashed, Imus. You crashed our site.
Crazygrazer.com.
That's right.
All right, Rock Newman will be back with the national anthem and a fight here in just a few minutes, 9 after the hour.
This is for the championship of the world. I expect a tough, clean fight. But check yourself at all times. Any questions from the challenger? Any questions from the champion? Get along.
McEnroe, flip the girl, sex up, I'm smacking the hump. Word to your moms, I came to drop bombs. I got more rhymes than the Bible.
the ambition.
And please welcome now to the radio and to the country around the country on MSNBC. First of all, the Marine Corps color guard been provided by the United States Marine Corps, which I was once a member. And here to sing the national anthem is my mother-in-law, Mary Ann Coleman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rose clear, the bombs bursting in the air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Very good. Mary Ann Coleman was the national anthem and the U.S. Marine Corps color guard. It is 17 minutes after the hour, and we'll be back with the main event. Sid, the Hebrew Hammer Rosenberg versus Bernard Berserk McGurk in Pier to Pier, all coming up here on the radio and on MSNBC.
On October 4th.
It is about 21 or 22 minutes after the hour here in the Army Morning Program, live from Chelsea Piers on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. And we now moved down to ringside, and at the ringside table are 5 judges: Mike Lupica from the New York Daily News, Bob Albert from TNT and MSG, and Mike Breen from MSG and NBC, and I guess some deli out on Long Island. And also joined by Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesa. Mike will call the fight, but first, let's go to our ring announcer from the Imus Morning Program, Larry Kinney. Good morning, Mr. Kinney.
Ladies and gentlemen, boxing fans around the world, welcome to the fabulous Chelsea Piers Sports Entertainment Complex in New York City. The Imus Morning Program, in association with the Imus Ranch for Kids with Cancer, are proud to bring you a pugilistic extravaganza. This is Pier at the Pier. Brought to you by the new Gillette Mach 3 Turbo Champion. This bout is sanctioned by USA Boxing Metro, the national governing body for Olympic boxing. Johnny Wolovich, president supervising. Security for this historic event is being provided by one of the world's foremost detective agencies, Bo Dietl and Associates. So, watch your ass! Speaking of Bo Dietl, and he asks us too often, one of Bo's security people working here today is a very special guest. This man is a 3-time Golden Glove champion, a former #1 light heavyweight contender, a man who fought Roy Jones in 1999, for the light heavyweight championship of the world, ladies and gentlemen, Tricky Rick Frazier.
The referee looks like he's on something, frankly.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It looks scary. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 3 celebrity judges who will be doing the scoring for this contest. First, he's the radio voice of the New York Knicks on WFAN and the MSG Radio Network. ESPN NBA TV announcer and former sports announcer on the Imus in the Morning program, Mike Breed.
I've already filled out my card. No. We haven't had to fight yet. Oh, okay. Moron.
Our next judge, TNT lead NBA announcer, the voice of Monday Night Football on CBS Radio and Westwood One Radio, the TV voice of the New York Knicks on the MSG Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Marv Albert. Yes. And finally, a New York Daily News columnist, panelist on ESPN's The Sports Reporters, renowned author, and regular contributor to the Imus in the Morning program, Mike Lupica. Our timekeeper today is Ruben Lugo, counting for the knockdown, Devon Williams. Positions at ringside, Dr. Michael Bronson and Dr. Arthur Benjamin. And the third man in the ring, our referee, Steve Willis. And ladies and gentlemen, for your
Steve really looks happy to be here, by the way.
What's that?
Steve looks really happy to be here.
Does Larry know he has to get out eventually?
I didn't know I could talk like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing pleasure, I call your attention to this side of the ring. Would you welcome our 3 lovely ring card girls, Kim Strother, Abby Nelson, and my personal favorite, Sarah Besmer.
You are such an idiot.
Wait in the car.
Oh, God. Come on, Larry.
Where are the boys?
Yeah.
I can't talk like this all day. I've got to have this suit back by noon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as our legal advisors have suggested we phrase it, let us prepare to tussle. You can't, you'll sue your ass. 3 rounds for the undisputed championship of Astoria Queens. They'll be here.
Well, I think now, Larry, we can turn it over to Mike. And
what's that?
I think now we can turn it over to Mike, and you can get out of the ring. But thank you very much.
Got to bring the fighters in. He's got to bring the fighters in.
He's got to bring the fighters in the ring.
Yeah, he's got to bring the fighters.
He's got to announce the fighters.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Larry. All right, Larry, you have to bring the fighters in.
You got to bring the fighters first.
Huh?
You got to announce the fighters. Well, I'm waiting for them to come in. Oh, here they come.
Oh, here come the fighters now, Sid. Resplendent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the contestants for this historic, monumental, pugilistic extravaganza.
Oh, boy. This thing, Teddy was once with Mike Tyson.
Teddy looks very serious.
Oh, God. Teddy? How are you, Teddy? Nice robe, dog, huh? Sid's taking this pretty seriously. Sid actually has his lawyer in the ring with his Chacapina. I mean,
Then no, Sid had this many people who knew him. Who's the young lady? His trainer. That's his trainer? His hammer. So it's pretty much waiting for Sid's hideous theme music to finish. And Bernie now coming in. Wanted to make Sid wait a little bit to kind of chill him in the ring, you know? Make Sid a little more nervous than he is. He's sweating profusely. Hi, Teddy. Teddy, how are you? Good to see you, Teddy. My friend, and gonna fly now. Ladies and gentlemen, Pier at the Pier. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner and wearing the red trunks. At 36 years of age, he stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall, weighing in at 184 1/2 pounds. From Brooklyn, New York, ladies and gentlemen, the man known as the Hebrew Hammer, Sid Rosenberg. They're joining each other already here. And in the blue corner, wearing the solid blue trunks, look at Bernie. He's 43 years old and measures 6 feet 2 1/2 inches. Weighing in at... How much you weigh, Bernie? 172, give or take. He hails from the Bronx, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernard Berserk McGurk. Get it on! And here now, please welcome to call the fight, Mike Francesa. Mike? Thank you, Don. I'm here with, obviously, Imus, and, of course, I couldn't get rid of dogs, so I had to keep him here. We have our 3 astute wise men here at the ring. Unfortunately, one couldn't come, and Green's here, but we have Albert, we have Lupica, and we have Green. 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds, amateur fight, in that there's amateur rules, amateur scoring. Dog, why don't you explain that to the audience? Really, this is a 20-point must system, and the other 2, Green and Lupica, will cheat off Marv's cards, since Marv's done about 400 Olympic fights.
Get that closer, Marv.
That's it. So 3 rounds, and we will wait for the referee to bring them to the center of the ring here, and we will finally get this underway. Bernie looking trim. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Sid looks scared to death.
Oh, Sid's a deer in headlights.
Sid, you can't fight with the robe on. So now...
I wasn't aware that they were going to use headgear for this fight.
Well, they are.
And they're using 16-ounce gloves. This is not a fight. It's a pillow fight. I don't know. Light gloves and no headgear. What's going on?
Hey, it's a sanctioned fight. You have to have headgear.
Yeah.
Teddy Atlas said, though, he was concerned for the first time in his professional boxing and amateur boxing career, where's the towel that he might have to throw?
It is troubling that Sid has his lawyer in the ring with him. And after working with Sid, Teddy said that he finally found a fighter who was actually dumber than Mike Tyson. What would we be waiting for, I wonder?
The referee's
We need the referee to start the fight.
Something with the rope.
They have to wear tank tops because of rope burns.
Okay, so we are going to put them in tank tops, I guess, now. Fortunate for Sid with that roll around. That is...
Oh, Sid is fast.
Sid did not even...
Sid's Buster Douglas.
No, Sid did not even train for this fight, obviously. I mean, Bernie has always been slender and good shape. If he did train, he trained at Wendy. Absolutely. And they are now going to don their jerseys here. Their T-tops.
Yeah, but
Sid
Bob,
in the red.
I don't like these jerseys, Mike. Come on, I want to see a real fight. I got 16-ounce gloves. I got a headgear on. I got tank tops.
Listen.
That's what it's about.
Keep interrupting me, and Mike, you will see a real fight.
By the way, they're 12-ounce gloves.
I heard there was 16.
No, that's what I just was told.
12.
Teddy, 12-ounce gloves?
Should be, Teddy. What's the ounce gloves, Ted?
That'll be so we know how much time
It's
is in the round.
16-ounce gloves. It's 16 ounce.
3 minutes in each round.
Like I said, there's 16-ounce gloves.
How much time left in the round?
Okay.
As we start here. Obviously on the Fan, on Westwood 1, syndicated across the country, and on MSNBC. So we have to do a little more of a radio call here since we're also on television. We have to apologize to the television audience. We've got to give them a little more than they're used to, but, you know, that's how we'll go. We need a microphone in the ring for the referee's instructions, please, as we get ready to begin the fight. 3 rounds or less. We have a mic for the ref. Can we get a mic in there for the ref so we can get the instructions?
Is this ref part of the gag? Does he know what he's doing? I think it's nothing serious.
He thinks that you moron. He's a regular ref. He thinks this is a damn fight. Sid, get out in the ring there. Come on, you can't hide in the corner.
Good, Teddy.
Sid and Red, Bernie, here we go. Let's listen to Steve Willis.
Oh, okay, we're ready to fight Steve. Apparently lots to say to him.
20-point must. Amateur rule. Knockdowns are not a factor. It is body blows and blows that decide the scoring in amateur competition. As we get ready for round number 1.
Knockdowns are not a factor?
Knockdowns are not a factor, though. It's not a 10. Here we go as we begin it. Center of the ring. Bernie with the jab. Another jab. All right, as Bernie has come out very strong early in the fight.
Sid is nervous as can be, man.
Oh, yeah. Sid is going to try the peekaboo style here. A little cover-up. Bernie with a right, a left. Oh, this is not another right. Oh, this is bad. This is not good. Sid's got to get in a fight here. This will be over in about 3 minutes. Bernie, very aggressive. Another jab. Left, a right cross by Bernie. Sid's in a little trouble early in the fight.
There's some hatred out of Bernard's eyes.
You can see it. You can see Bernie just absolutely focused. Sid absolutely scared to death here early in the fight.
I think it's remarkable, though Sid hasn't quit yet.
Yeah. A minute into round 1, Bernie clearly the aggressor here.
He looks like a boxer, Mike. He's moving well, he's dancing, he's staying out of trouble, and he's attacking with that left to soften him up.
Trained by Teddy Atlas.
He's got Sid in the corner here, Mike.
In all kinds of trouble. Bernie trained by Randy Gordon. Bernie clearly the aggressor, cutting off the
right hand.
A right hand. He backs him up. A right. A left. Steve Willis jumps in and tries to separate him. Sid looks very tired.
Oh, he looks...
Sid looks like he wants to quit.
Sid looks exhausted. Sid wants a cab.
He does.
But Bernie clearly in for the kill. A right. Sid follows up with a right that misses. Bernie with a left jab. Bernie clearly the aggressor, and the fight has landed far more serious blows. Ernie, Sid with the right.
Sid's fighting back, though.
Sid trying to cut off the ring. They fight in the middle of the ring right now. Bernie clearly the aggressor with the left jab, trying to keep him at a distance. A right by Bernie. A left. Sid misses with a right. Another right misses. Sid, a straight left by Bernie. Bernie clearly the aggressor halfway through round number 1.
Halfway through? To the world.
A left, a right, a big right hand by Bernie, followed by a left. Sid in big trouble. A left.
He's about to go, Mike.
This is big. A left. Sid with a bit. That's it.
That's it.
It's over.
I think
it's over? No. No, it's not over. It's just the end of round 1.
Wait a second.
Where is the bell, Mike?
I thought it was a 3-minute round.
What happened?
Well, how long was the round?
3 minutes.
Yeah. 3 minutes.
Where is there a bell? Where is there a bell, guys?
Where's the bell?
I don't know.
You know, when you're having a great time, it really goes fast.
We don't even have a scorekeeper here.
Well, Mike, to analyze the first round.
I guess they're fighting 2-minute rounds now. They might be fighting 1-minute rounds in a minute.
Well, I don't know.
That was only 2 minutes.
Sid's not going to make it.
So Sid is in trouble.
There's
some blood. There's some blood. Sid is in big trouble. He is sweating profusely. Teddy's trying to ask him exactly where he is.
Teddy is saying,
Randy Gordon has an animal in the other corner. Bernie in for the kill. Look at Bernie's eyes. Those steely blue eyes. He's looking right through
Rosenberg looks like he's about to perish from the earth.
Don, your thoughts on Sid here?
If he doesn't die...
He can barely get off his stool.
Now we believe they're fighting 2-minute rounds. As we go to round 2, they meet in the middle of the ring. Bernie comes out aggressive again with a left.
Bernie is in such great shape for this fight.
Sid's trying to fight. A right, and they tangle. They have to break him up. Steve Willis breaks him up in the middle of the ring.
Guys, Sid's legs are gone.
They are gone.
God.
If he had any to start, it's over.
He's bleeding, Mike, from his nostril.
All right.
He's bleeding from his nostril.
A left.
Oh, he's being embarrassed in this fight.
A big right. A left. Sid trying to fight back. Misses with a right. Bernie, a left. Oh, this is a disaster. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He's bleeding from the left nostril profusely right now. Sid takes him a right, a left.
Another right.
A big right by Bernie, and they hold hold on. Now, Sid is putting up a good fight, though.
Oh,
he's hanging tough.
Sid is shot.
At least he's fighting back.
The mouthpiece almost out for Sid as he's clearly spent.
Right.
Bernie to the right and the left. Now Bernie goes to the midsection. Just a little cruise at this fight.
Oh, my God.
Oh, a big right. Another right by Bernie.
You can't hit him any harder.
Oh, my God.
I think that...
Standing 8 count.
Bernard McGurk, I have been so impressed. What a performance by Bernard McGurk.
Big trouble here.
He's sitting a washerwoman. What are you talking about?
Taking a beating.
This is hard to watch.
A left by Bernie. Left to the midsection by Bernie.
This is tough to watch.
Sid covers up. Sid looking for that one punch and one left by Bernie. Another straight left by Bernie as he continues to score. A right and a left by Bernie.
Sid is bleeding profusely.
That time is left in the round.
They will have 20 seconds left in the round. Running time, though. Running time.
Calling in Dr. Michael Brownson.
Mike, this is tough to watch.
Dr. Brownson is going to examine.
Teddy Atlas has the towel.
Well, now
Teddy Atlas has the towel. Teddy has the towel. He's about to throw it in.
Yeah.
They think he was declared legally dead here.
but Sid is fighting back. I mean,
he is.
He's being tough.
Sid's shown that he can take punishment.
Yes.
I think the thing I'm
He's taking an enormous amount of punishment to this one.
Bloodied to the nose.
Eyes are going to fight.
Continues round 2. A left.
Oh, a right hand.
Another right by Bernie. Sid actually lands a right, comes back with a left, and he throws Bernie against the ring. Sid exhausted. Sid throws Bernie against a right by Bernie as they meet in the middle of the ring again. A left. A right and a left by Bernie. Another right. Just an enormously dominant fight by Bernard McGurk.
How much time is left?
We have no idea.
There it is.
And that's the end of round 2. Bernard confidently struts back to his corner. Sid ambles back as Teddy Atlas meets him. Blood dripping from his nose. 2 rounds of destruction. Dog, your thoughts?
Mike, I think the first thing I've picked up on this Sid is in such terrible shape.
In terrible shape. As Don said, Sid trained at Wendy's.
Really, he's in terrible shape.
Bernard is in great shape. But Sid's hanging tough. He's taking a lot of hard shots.
Yeah, but he's dead. He's dead to the
Sid is trying to go to round 3.
Bernard has 8 inches in reach.
Yeah, that's good point.
That's a big advantage. When they walked in, you could see. That's a major advantage.
You can tell, Mike, that the
Teddy knows.
The WFAN
Teddy's talking to his fighter right now as we get ready for round 3.
WFAN hierarchy, a little concerned about Sid's well-being here.
We're going to do 10-1 the next couple of days.
That's it.
Teddy
gets ready for round 3. When he sees the bell for round number 3, he has to lift Sid to his feet as Atlas tries to encourage his fighter. But Sid comes out as they touch gloves for the final round. It has been all McGurk so far. A right and a left open around. Another right and a left. A right and a left again. A right and a left by Bernard again. And they tie it up.
Sid's putting up a pretty good fight.
He hasn't quit.
He's taking a lot of fight. He turns his back on the fighter. You have to watch that if you're the referee. Sid almost defenseless now. He puts the gloves up Bernard with the left.
Shot left.
How about his PJ? He acquitted himself well.
Right by Bernard that hit basically close. That was a big punch, but it missed.
He's trying to hang on to finish. He doesn't want to get knocked out.
Another right. The only question now is will Sid finish the fight? A right by Sid. A left by Bernie. Bernie is clear. A right and a left by Bernard. McGurk all over the Hebrew Hammer. A right hand. And another standing knockout. A big right hand.
Good job by the referee. Teddy, we might want to think about
Steve Willis.
Fight's over.
It is over.
It's over. The referee stops the fight.
A minute into round 3. A knockout by Bernard McGurk.
Like a TKO, right?
A TKO, yes. A standing knockout. A TKO. A technical knockout. On a one-sided performance by Bernard McGurk.
Just a...
Blandini Brown here trying to exhaust the work of Randy.
Okay, well, we'll be back with...
A big hand for both. I Sid showed some courage there. Let's give him a big hand. Randy Gunn could have cleaned himself well. A good hand for Sid, and obviously an overwhelming performance done by Berserk McGurk.
Like his anger, the fitness, what a performance done by Bernard McGurk.
8:43 now, 17 till 9 o'clock on the East Coast. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, Lou.
with the Mohegan Sun Fan Highway Patrol.
It's 11 minutes till the hour, and I am Ivan Savoy. Let's go back to the ring now. And our ring announcer, Larry Kinney. Larry?
Ladies and gentlemen, Pier at the Pier is over. At 51 seconds of round number 3, our referee stops the bout. The winner, and still undefeated, Bernard Berserk McGurk!
The question you have to ask is, what was Sid thinking?
And ladies and gentlemen, a hand, if you will, big round of applause for a tough competitor, Sid Rosenberg.
Sid's ain't sympathies out here today, Don.
Oh, my God. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, here we are. Here are the competitors, and I guess we're not going to mess around with you in the newsroom any longer. Well, ring skills are different from any other skills. You can be in shape. I have to hand him to my trainer, Randy Gordon, and Damon Slammy Lee from Ross, and I started with him. He hit me hard, so anything after what this guy hit me with was nothing. I have to hand it to Sid Rosenberg. Believe me, as you saw, I hit him with some big-time shots. I heard him. I'm sure. I don't know if I could have taken those shots. He took them for 2.5 rounds. Give it up for Sid, really. He did. I mean, he took the shot. Anyway, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. I love you. Thank you, Cal. Brendan Melly, I love you. Bye. Wait a minute. What happened to you? Are you watching? I got my ass kicked. This is not the way it was supposed to go. I was a human punching bag for 2.5 rounds. I'm supposed to take solace in the fact I didn't die in the ring, but I'm going to have to take this thing a little more seriously next time, and there will be a next time. Except not against Barney. You low-life piece of garbage, huh? I show you mercy, and that's the way you treat me? Let's put the gloves back on right now. Let's do it again. No, you're missing my point. I don't want to fight Bernie McGurk. I'm announcing my next fight right now. Coming up in Bernie's going to retire because he's so good. But coming up in 2 months, right here, same time, same place, Sid Rosenberg taking on Mike Francesa right here in your place.
I don't know if I'd do that.
Of course, there will be new ticket sales. I could send out my 8-year-old niece if she'd be there. The tough guy sitting over there with his jacket on calling the fight. Bernie hits Mike once, he dies in the ring. Once. Sid, please, this isn't the time to act tough. Please, be humble. I am humble. I got my ass kicked, and Bernie did a great job. Thank you for all coming, and happy Yom Kippur.
We'll get Sid over here in the next hour to discuss with Sid exactly what he had in mind when he challenged to Bernard in this fight, which seems inexplicable to me, but
pain is what he has. He's a Cardinal.
Are you finished down the ring?
Unless anybody else wants to step up. Hey, don't get in here.
Calm down, Bernie. It's 8 minutes till the hour.
How about that?
I'm here with Mike Francesa and Chris Risser, who called the fight. What in your view is Sid thinking about?
Not boxing.
And I cannot believe the shape that Bernard was in. Sid had holes and fat. But Bernard was just phenomenal.
And you have to remember, Sid challenged Bernard through this fight. You know, this happened last summer, I believe.
Now by tomorrow, Sid will think he won.
Well, his story will be by the next newscast, which comes up in 8 minutes, Sid will think he won.
Yeah, Bernard is as fresh as a daisy. Look at him. I mean, and Marv made a great point. The reach of Bernard
he's killing it.
Was really a big factor in this fight.
Yeah. Wasn't necessary to have either Marv Albert or Mike Breen or Mike Lupica score the fight, but it won't worry your scorecards up to that point.
Marvelous, what do you have? First of all, let me just say, this may be off point, Marv has very nice penmanship. By the way, I appreciate that. I try to be neat. I had a 2018, and I thought that was pretty generous. It could have been 2016 rounds, both of the first 2 rounds. It could have been 20 to 2. I had the computer going for volume of punches. It was a very impressive performance by Bernard. Sid showing a lot of heart, and you could see as he was walking into the ring, the problem with the legs. Yeah, you could see.
What do you think, Breen?
5 seconds in, Bernard threw a jab, fight over. But I give credit to Sid. He had great heart. Bernard was just in unbelievable condition.
The general manager of the radio station here in New York, Lee Davis, was halfway through the first round was begging me to stop the fight. There's 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes until the hour. I want to thank Bill Abramson, who's first vice president here at Chelsea Piers, and Erica
That's just absurd to have a name like that. Stuart Scheinbaum, Vice President of Communications. Arthur Danowski is the Assistant General Manager. Deborah Navins, who is the Director of Special Events. Phil Donnelly, who is the Events Director here at Chelsea Bears, which, by the way, did a fabulous job. Damon Boyles, who is the Public Relations and Marketing Manager here at Chelsea Bears. And Greg Paraventi, who is the Catering Sales Manager here at Chelsea Bears. And Bo Dietl and the Bo Dietl Associates did a great job with security. Mike Francesa, a fine job calling the fight. And Russo, almost hysterical through the fight. It's a beating Sid was taking, but somebody you sense they don't like, you seem kind of concerned.
I was very concerned for Sid. I cannot believe how out of shape he was. Yeah. I thought he took this seriously. He might get rolled.
We did think he trained on. We could tell as soon as he walked in the ring he had trained. Yeah.
Bernard is different, and Bernard's got that mean streak in him that in this kind of event, they can take advantage of.
Well, so it's like I wonder why Rush Limbaugh would make the comments he made. You wonder why Sid would just... I mean, I know he's delusional, and like he thinks he's going to be your co-host on your TV show, but...
He's surprised by us because Sid's stupid. You know what he thinks of that.
Oh, it was tough to watch.
That was like a train wreck.
Yeah, that was...
Blood shooting down his nose. Oh, that was tough.
Hey, so much for the 16-ounce gloves, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think a big deal about that. Seems like a fellow thinking 12 ounces, we have
we have a corpse on our hands. Yeah. All right, well, thanks you guys very much. You guys are great. To raise money for the Rams, because we know there's lots of competitors. Anyway, thank you all for coming down. It's now 4 minutes now to show you out.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smell! You know that gasoline smell? Smells like...
Where can you go for a day where the boats are endless?
At the Pier, it's now history, and the referee stopping the fight for a third-round TKO. It's Bernard McGurk dominating Sid Rosenberg, and the fight is over, and a victory for Bernie. So we will no longer mess around with Bernie in the newsroom at the radio station.
Well, my question for Sid would be, when he gets up here, is what he was thinking. I mean, why would you... I
agree.
Why would you want to get yourself into something like this when it's just what a train wreck?
I think clearly, Don, as you indicated earlier, Sid was delusional prior to the fight, prior to getting in the head. He was completely delusional about this whole thing.
Well, Lupica reminded me of something Mike Tyson said about, what was it?
He was getting ready to fight Terrell Biggs, and the writers came in after talking to Biggs, and they said, you know, Biggs has a pretty good plan for you Saturday night. Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get hit.
You know, I guess that's kind of Sid's story.
And the situation, the 6 o'clock hour, he was as scared as could be, and Bernie was confident, well prepared, and Sid just didn't take the fight serious, and look what happened.
No.
It was just a disgrace. All right, new poll was down popularity.
Disgrace would be a way to describe it. I mean, Sid did put up a fight.
He was looking at Bernie across the ring like Bernie was a bill collector at his front door.
All-time low in New York is popularity. President George Bush would lose the state to any of the top Democratic challengers if the election were held today, and that's according to a poll that's out.
What did you say was the word?
Were held. H-E-L-D. Here we go. Parents at an overcrowded elementary school in Queens, they are upset after learning on...
Just in, preliminary report, Sid may have a broken nose.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Lucky he's alive.
I mean, that would cause trouble breathing. He had a broken nose.
How could you tell? Well, that will be fine. Go ahead.
Parents at an overcrowded elementary school in Queens are upset after learning on short notice that over 70 students will be bused to other schools because there are not enough desks or books for them. That's coming from Queens today. And the white-collar criminal trial of banker Frank Quattrone resumes today in Manhattan. A federal regulator testified yesterday that he believes Quattrone reviewed some key records in an investigation into how his bank doled out shares of hot stock offerings.
Have you seen pictures of that guy, Frank Quattrone?
No.
He looks remarkably like Jerry Colonna. Do you remember Jerry Colonna in the old... Yeah, with the mustache. He looks remarkably like Jerry Colonna.
Thanks for weighing in.
2.5 people in the country realize who Jerry Colonna is.
That's so straight, Mike. Just please stop interrupting the news here. 3 minutes after the hour.
Good news for those of you living in the Brooklyn area. Dr. Delarue.
Berserk McGurk against Sid, the Hebrew Hammer Rosenberg. Brought to you by Gillette Mach-Clean Turbo Champion, the world's best shave. North Fork Bank, Mohegan Sun, Atomic Solar G Shock Watch, the official timekeeper of the Fear at the Pier, Lexus of Westport, your affordable Lexus dealer. We also thank KBL Audio Visual Services. 800-862-3210. The New York Presbyterian Hospital Emergency Medical Services and the Health Center at Chelsea Piers, located at Pier 60, for providing standby emergency medical care. New York Presbyterian, the University Hospitals of Columbia and Cornell, and by Everlast for providing boxing equipment. Food provided by Pier 60 and the Lighthouse. Two great venues at Chelsea Piers, featuring great cuisine by Abigail Kirsch, along with spectacular Hudson River views. For events from 100 to 2,000, call 212-336-6144.
6 minutes after the hour here in the Mr. Winning program, and in the aftermath of Pier to Pier, in which, man, it looked like there was a train wreck in which the fight was stopped in the third round about a minute in which Sid looked like he was going to frankly die, didn't he? Ugly. It was ugly. Mike Barnicle here, Marv Albert, and Mike Lupica. First, Marv, what did you...
I thought it was troubling when Sid's trainer, Teddy Atlas, even before the fight got underway, was shaking his head, looking at his shoes, and looked thoroughly depressed.
What is all of Teddy saying? Do you know, could you hear what Teddy was saying to sit in the corner, turn around?
Where's the towel?
You know, Marv's seen a lot more boxing than I have, but when Sid asked Teddy, what should I do? And Teddy said, are you talking to me? I thought that was kind of a bad...
Well, Sid may have a broken nose. We were going to talk with him, but now he's unable to come out of the dressing room.
You know, you hate when athletes use that as an excuse. Keeping the trainer.
Yeah, Marv said, rub some dirt on it.
So we'll talk to Sid Funny what he had in mind, but the other big story, of course, this morning is Rush Limbaugh.
The Rush Limbaugh story is huge, Mr. Ramus.
Barnicle filling in for McCord this morning.
The Daily News, New York Daily News, is carrying the story. The National Enquirer broke the story, and it has to do with Rush Limbaugh's maid, Wilma Klein, his former maid, actually, claims that Rush Limbaugh caused her to go get pills for him.
Why did she decide now to rat him out?
I would have to guess probably because someone signed a name on the bottom of a check made out to Wilma Klein. I imagine that the Enquirer, they pay for stories, and they probably paid for this one, but it's, no one would want to have to endure this during any given day, but Rush now has the loss of the ESPN job, but he quit that yesterday, and now he's being charged with, by this woman and the National Enquirer and the Daily News carrying the story with being an addict to painkillers and buying them from her in the parking lot of a Denny's restaurant in Florida and urging her to go get more and more pills for him, and eventually ending up in detox. The pills, allegedly, are OxyContin, Lorcet, and hydrocodone, which are highly addictive. Have you heard of any of these three pills?
Well, Dr. Bronson tells me that the hydro thing is actually Vicodin. So I'm taking Vicodin. Apparently that's quantity, but...
How much do you take or have taken? Recently?
No, but I mean, when I got hurt, I was taking maybe 100 a day. No, probably 6 a day, something like that. I mean, never more than that.
Let's not turn this into a grand jury.
Give me an example.
Do you know Wilma Klein? Was she ever a maid?
No, I always got my medication with a doctor's prescription at the drugstore. And which is, would you wonder why he did it?
This would be Dr. Bronson, who was here earlier today.
No, not Dr. Bronson, but I mean, just,
What was the doctor? Do you remember the doctor?
Doctor in New Mexico. Just don't worry about it.
A doctor in Mexico?
Why don't we talk to New Mexico?
New Mexico.
George Carlin. You want me to go there? Just read the news. I don't want to have a Percodan. Willing to pay up to $20 a pill. Rob Bartlett, who, by the way, opens tonight in a little shop of horrors on Broadway. That's right. Shouldn't you be resting or at the theater? Well, I wanted to be here for the big fight. And when did it start? It's over, Rob. Oh. I got news for you. It was over back in June. Oh, man, I mean. I was huffing and puffing like you going up the stairs. Well,
nobody is ever going to smart-mouth Bernie ever again. I mean, it's...
Well, not many people were anyway.
But he looked like a boxer, and he just... But when he went out and stuck that first left hand in Sid's face, it was not good after that.
I was actually surprised, honestly, that Sid stood in there as long as he did. I mean, that was a fairly impressive, because he was getting beaten like a drum 15 seconds into this thing. I don't think people, we talked about this earlier, realize how difficult it is just to hold your hands up with gloves on for 3 minutes.
Well, Mark, frankly, I don't think that's the first time Sid's ever had his hands up.
I'll have a gun on him.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Anyway, back to the Rush Limbaugh story. So is this some offense he winds up in jail for, or what?
Oh, I think it depends on who pursues it. I don't know that any U.S. attorney down in Florida, where this is allegedly to have taken place, or any district attorney would pursue something off of a National Enquirer story. I think it's a larger issue for him in terms of reputation. Right. I assume he'll have huge ratings today when he goes on the air to confront this story. I mean, I don't like to see anybody put in this position. But,
the ESPN story was a big enough story. So.
The ESPN story is a mystery, as we discussed earlier. I mean, but my understanding of it, Mike and Marv, is that he is on ESPN because he is a self-proclaimed football aficionado, a real fan, and he gets on and he says what he says about Donovan McNabb, which leads you to wonder why he would say it if he even believed it. But the history of the NFL in the last decade is replete with black quarterbacks performing incredibly well. So what does he know about football?
He was there to draw attention to himself in this show. And I think in the original Fallout, you know, they got a big spike in interest. He was being controversial the way they wanted him to. And then, but when you hire somebody to draw attention to you in that way, then then it was interesting. I wanted to see how they were going to ride it out, because this really was what they wanted. But be careful what you wish for, because now they got this controversy, and 48 hours later, he's out of it.
Yeah, but to cut to the bottom line of it, I mean, it was the guy's opinion. It's his opinion. Why ought not he be able to continue on with the ESPN show?
Well, he resigned. He wasn't fired. I mean, he quit.
Well, there were a couple of African-American players on the set with him, right?
I think Tommy Jackson, I was not watching. I think Tommy Jackson is on that show and Michael Irvin is on that show.
They were both sitting right there.
But I don't know whether they answered him back on the racial aspects of what he said, which obviously was the most controversial thing he said. I mean, you're allowed to think he's not the best quarterback in football. I mean, anybody's allowed. But to go where he went was stupid.
Marv, where would you put Michael Vick in terms of just pro football players? Never mind quarterback. Where would you put him? Top 5?
Oh, definitely. No question. What stunned me about the whole situation with Rush Limbaugh, and I think what happens when you although Rush is a sports fan, and I know he knows something about sports, but I feel when you bring an outsider in who is not really a sports aficionado, there is always the possibility of getting into some difficulty in terms of the knowledge. And what he showed, and I'm not talking about the racial aspect, there was a lack of knowledge. You go back to Warren Moon. In present day football, you have Steve McNair, you have Dante Culpepper, you have Michael Vick, you have, of course, Donovan McNabb. I mean, that's like an old issue. It's not even about Warren Moon. He won that thing in Canada about 12 times, right? That was a very good quarterback in the National Football League for the Houston Oilers, but it's like he was searching for an issue.
I'll tell you something else. He goes on the radio every day, and he is preaching to his own choir. So everybody hangs on every word, and he's preaching to people who agree with him. And now he's got a different audience there, and this guy's used to saying whatever he wants to. And I think he kind of misread where he was when he said these things and to whom he was saying it.
It might be that Marv's point that he just alluded to, that it was a contrived statement to attract some attention to himself, and blew up in his face.
Right, and as Mike mentioned, when he's preaching to a choir, it's different. When you're talking sports, the slightest, even though it's, as you mentioned, it's his opinion, but if you are slightly off course in terms of the fact of the situation, it's over. Because people know. They really know. You can't fool people when you talk.
And the other thing is, he said, well, my complaint wasn't really with Donovan McNabb. It was the media. And it's this vague media thing. I must have missed the memo where I was told that I had to pump up Donovan McNabb as a superstar.
Dick McPherson called you from Terry. Quarter after the hour here in the Amish Morning Program. We'll be back with Bernard McGurk, apparently attempting to recover in the dressing room. Marv Albert, Mike Lupica, and Mike Barnicle here as well, quarter after the hour.
And, it's motivated me all my life. But I'm sure it'll motivate all of the other players who don't play the quarterback position. It's not really, pinpointing the quarterback position. It's pinpointing all the players in the league.
Politician on my TV says he's only looking out for me. He says he knows what the poor man needs in the long run. But every year gives himself a raise with a chunk of every buck I make. A little sister in a cowboy hat ain't country. No, but that's a good way. That's a real good way.
good job, by the way.
Well, thank you very much, Mr.
Mike Lupica is here, and joining us now, the combatants from Pier to Pier, Sid Rosenberg, who looks, his nose is swollen, and eyes a little puffy. Well, your nose is really, is it broken?
Could be, I don't know. Possible.
No, don't be silly.
It's hurting like it's broken, but...
And Bernard McGurk, can we get, is there any way to get Bernard's mic on, or is that just... There are switches there that may... It's on. I knew there was some concern when we came down for about a week ago when they set up all the technical stuff, and the FAN engineer said, "Oh, don't worry about it. We just need one plug and we'll be fine."
The crack. That's a good one there.
So, Sid, here's my question. You're to be commended for not giving up. You put up a good fight, but I mean, it was just absurd. You got killed.
Yeah, no, I did. I got absolutely killed.
You know what was amazing is that he didn't go down. He waited till they stopped the fight.
Yeah.
What was it, 2:51 of the third round?
I don't know, but I will say this. And
51. It was the first minute of the first round. Third round.
All kidding aside, I got to give Bernie a lot of credit. He is he's in great shape, and he hits you feel it. I mean, you really, there were a couple of times during the second round where, almost like I was trying to explain to the TV crew I missed earlier today, where sometimes during the summer your air conditioning is on real loud and you kind of hear it, and the room reverberates with the air conditioning. Right. There were a couple of times that Bernie hit me in the side of the head where I really felt like my whole head was about to just explode. So he's a tremendous athlete. He could hit.
What did you think was going to happen, though?
You know, I don't know. I didn't think he'd be this good. You know, I figured that it was.
Let's just review though. You guaranteed a first-round knockout about a month ago, right?
Yeah. Well,
what about that now?
Well, it didn't go that way today.
No, but I mean,
you were going to break my nose. Remember they guaranteed?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
What happened? I mean, Minko now. Minko has to do the sports in a Speedo bathing suit.
Yeah.
Because you lost.
You're going to sound like Tommy Hearns when you get on the air at 10 o'clock.
At the end of the fight, when I was humiliated, obviously, and upset with my performance, although I give Bernie all the credit in the world. Well, the one thing I did take solace in was the fact that Minko was going to show up in his Speedo.
Well, wouldn't it have been helpful had you trained?
Probably. I don't know if it would have really mattered.
He trained. We don't let him run that by you.
No, you know what? I don't think it would have mattered. I think Bernie was just a better man in the ring today, no matter what.
Did you ever realize how long 3 minutes actually can be?
You know, I'll tell you what. It is an eternity in there. You know, and you get
not if you train. Because it sort of flew by. I must be honest.
Well, yes, but you were using Sid as a punching.
Well, he landed a couple of shots on me a couple of times, but
so did I?
You did a good. No, Sid, you did I'll tell you this seriously. Yeah. You did an incredible job. You were courageous. No, you weren't. You didn't give up. And you fought back. No, I thought it was good. I mean, you got killed, but then anybody would have.
Again, I can't say enough about the job Bernie did today. And we're chalking up to a bad day at the gym, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do this thing again.
No, it's not a bad day at the gym, and it's not. We're not going to do it again. It's you got to stop being delusional about these various. Well, I can't think of the word.
Everything. You name it.
I mean,
life.
Yeah, I mean, you think you're going to be a co-host with Frances on your television program? You think Jerry Bruckheimer's going to call you for a sitcom? But
your mouth keeps
somewhere down the road. But at this point, not much of that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I disagree personally, and
well, you predicted you were going to knock Bernie out in the first round.
Hey, listen, you know what? The best of athletes have their bad days. Nobody thought Mike Tyson was going to lose to Buster Douglas, but on that day, Mike wasn't at his very best, and Buster was. And that's what happened here today. Bernie was the better man today. That doesn't mean he'll be the better man tomorrow or 6 months from now.
This is there you go. Starting up. This is from a guy who was almost crying about the half hour ago in the ring. Literally almost crying. Tears.
I was crying, by the way. So, I mean, if your question to me is, have I learned my lesson, then my answer is emphatic.
His nose has grown, by the way, swollen up another inch as we sat here. This is the past 10 minutes.
I'm Jewish.
Yeah, but I've seen the nose before, and I've seen it now. It's growing, believe me. It's broken.
Bernie was the better man today, but I would just say this, that there'll be another day.
By the way...
Well, what other day would you possibly want?
We'll talk about that at a later date. I want to get back with Teddy and my managers and my trainers and my people, and we'll figure... Look, the only guy that never lost is Rocky Marciano. Ali's lost. Tyson's lost. Lennox Lewis has lost. Don't forget, Lennox Lewis lost his bout to Oliver McCall, came back and beat him. Don't forget Lennox Lewis lost R.C. Marquardt and beat him.
Sid, let me tell you something about Rocky Marciano, okay? He looked better after the plane crash than you do right now.
45 FDR left.
I had no regrets. I don't know. I have regrets about nothing. I don't have any regrets about going to prison. I don't have any regrets about anything. Maybe if I was a better child, maybe that's not a regret, but probably I wouldn't been doing. I probably been in school somewhere.
Why don't you all fade away? Generation next, generation strange. Don't even sign so I win the pain. Don't try to dig while we all stay. Go ahead and talk. Talk about me. Chronicles of big sensation. Talking about this generation. We don't give a fuck again. We won't never give a fuck. Till you give a fuck about me and my generation. Gets the blame. I'm in the morning.
Boating and fishing season isn't over yet. In New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, call 800-984-2020, 800-984-2020.
The opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by the Oral-B 3D XL Power Toothbrush. Its unique 3D motion removes stains and keeps teeth whiter longer than Sonicare. Oral-B guarantees better results for your money back. 31 minutes past the hour here in the Amos Morning program, and we're still at Chelsea Piers on the west side of Manhattan, where Pier to Pier happened about an hour ago, and the fight was stopped a minute into the third round after Sid had endured a horrific beating at the hands of Berserk McGurk. And Sid now claiming that he simply had a bad day in the gym.
You know, I've been at a lot of losing locker rooms and clubhouses.
Yeah.
This is as bad as I've ever heard it. I mean, it's almost as if he's a little more delusional now than he was before the fight, and I like Sid.
One would have hoped that Bunny would have knocked some sense into you, Sid.
Sid was gutsy, though. You got to hand it to him. He was gutsy.
He really was.
He was gutsy. He took his beating. But now he's insane.
Like a girl.
By the way, Dennis the Puerto Rican is waiting for you. He's standing by you. That was your first fight. That was nothing compared to what you're going to get later. There he is.
Well, thank to both of you for agreeing to my son here. Come here. What are you doing?
Wyatt wants to take him on next.
Honey. No. Poopy doesn't solve anything. Did you see Sid get beat up?
That's what he's talking about. He's still poopy. Coming out of his shorts.
Did you see Sid get beat up? Were you unhappy?
I mean, I just want to thank a couple of people, too.
It's really good to go around and tell people how bright your kid is, and he gets on the radio and says poopy.
Well, he's adorable.
Basically a moron.
I just want to thank Dennis Clancy over at Everlast. I want to thank, obviously, Gillette Mach 3. They did a great job here today, outfitting Bernie and I. And KO for their new company that puts the jocks together. So, and obviously everybody else here that came to the bout. I just want to thank everybody.
Thanks to both of you because you raised almost $200,000 for the Amos Ranch.
My trainer Randy Gordon and the gentleman who donated the studio to let us train, Derek Panza of Panza's Kickboxing Studio in Greenville, Long Island, a great guy, kickboxing champ himself.
I can't understand why a guy would name his kickboxing thing a pansy kickboxing.
No, it's Panza's Kickboxing.
Sorry.
And also, on top of that, Bernie, I just want to thank Teddy Atlas for coming on down today, obviously, Lupstelter, Takapina, and Bill Abramson, Kristen and Justin, too, but Bill Abramson, Brian Katz, and all the guys here at Chelsea Piers that put together just an unbelievable show here today. And the ring looked great, and I got to give Chelsea Piers a lot of credit.
And I want to thank Sid's mom for sending me the fruit basket for winning this morning. And the people at Cornell Medical Center where Sid's going right now.
Is there any possibility that she'll now just shut up?
No. I'm telling you, I'm going to chalk this up to a bad day at the gym, and we're going to do this again.
You know what? He's lucky they stopped it. 51 seconds into the third round. Sid, I'm going to tell you something. They could use some clips of this fight as promos of the new Mel Gibson film.
They were, the general manager, of course, was hysterical during the fight, Sid.
He actually asked me to stop in the second round. He looked over towards me, and he gave me the throat cut signal like stop, but I was not going to stop, and I went out there for the third round and continued to take a vicious beating.
You know what the nicest touch was? The blood running down your face, your chin.
That, huh? You like that?
That was a sweet touch.
Yeah.
So do you do your show today on the radio here in New York?
No, I'm done. I'm going to go to a...
So you're supposed to do your show, aren't you?
No, I got the day off, so I'm going to go down to, get a massage maybe, and Whatever else $50 gets on top of that.
An 8-ball.
Well, thanks to both of you. You did a marvelous job, and we're just hoping that they would come to a sensitive, but apparently that's not the case.
No, clearly not.
So.
I don't think there's going to be a big public outcry for a rematch. I don't think people are demanding to think that they want to see this again, or that Sid got robbed.
No, it's very tough to watch, but Sid, of course, convinced that it's simply a bad day at the Larry Kinney now. Larry, why don't you get over and say something funny? It's 25 minutes now.
Larry, by the way, hates Sid. He'll use the video of this fight as a sexual aid. So, I know Larry.
Joining us now, Larry Kinney, who was
Larry Kinney in the ring with the look, with the tuxedo, as well as being very funny in the ring. You looked exactly like you were heading off to Morton's to seat people.
Well, I was standing at one point over by the food, by the coffee.
You would be standing by the food, yeah.
Actually, when I saw Larry in the ring, I thought I was getting into a sumo wrestling match. I'm like, what is going on?
Go ahead.
Ow! Oh. And I'm standing there, and this lady walks up. I got the tuxedo on, and she says, could we get some more coffee? And I said, well, I'll see what I can do. And I was talking to somebody else, one of the doctors, I think, from tomorrow. So I said, I'll see what I can do in a minute. And I just kept talking to her. And she said, I'd really like some coffee. Well, you know what I wanted to say. Well, but
yeah, right. But something you can't say now.
So I said, well, I'll go down. I got her some coffee. Yeah. And she started to walk away, and I said, I just want to know, did you think I was a waiter or something? She said, I know who you are.
Of course you know who you are.
I know you aren't. Just one coffee.
So, my favorite line, of course, is when you introduce the ring card girls, and said that's my personal favorite, which is very good.
Well, that works because she came up after the fight and gave me her card. She's a trainer here.
Sure.
And offered me a free training session.
Was she round 1 or round 2?
I don't think I'd get to round 2. No. I don't know which round she was.
So what did you think of the fight?
I was shocked at this. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I was getting scared for Sid. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that tough. Bernie was incredible. Sid was like,
the general manager at the end of the second round, at the beginning of the second round, was just hysterical trying to get me to stop the fight.
But he was relieved that Sid had signed the waiver before the fight. It wasn't that hysterical.
So how'd you feel in there, Bernie?
I felt comfortable. I felt, confident. If you do the training, the preparation, it really gives you peace of mind. It's not only physical. What did you do for training? Seriously, what did you do? I drank in my backyard. No, I trained. I sparred with the big Slam and Sammy Liebman up at the Panzer's Kickboxing, as I said. Randy Gordon, the former New York State Boxing Commissioner, trained me. He's got, believe me, there are skills, there are techniques that you employ, and he instilled them, and he taught me them.
How long did you train?
A month. But almost 5 days a week, though, for 4 weeks. But, did you go back to Yankee Stadium at all and hang around after night games and get in fights in the parking lot or anything like that? I had my share of that back in the day.
Did you get hit at all?
I think he hit me once or twice, but I felt tougher shots from my daughter, just by accident.
Ooh, I don't.
Whoa! What a well, listen.
Were you surprised that Sid put up a fight?
I was surprised. I must say, I was surprised that he didn't throw in the towel because he was getting rocked. I really felt my fists hitting his mush, and it felt kind of good. But the fact that he stayed in there and didn't throw in the towel and came out for the third round, I couldn't believe he came back out. He did, and he's lucky they stopped it because I think I was ready to tee off there. About midway in the third round was how I had it planned. At any point, were you concerned for Sid? Well, I thought he might get hurt, but I wasn't really concerned. If that's what you mean. No, I thought, I was surprised they didn't stop it on 1 or 2 occasions. I thought maybe that would be it when I saw the blood gushing down. But they let it go, and he was game. He came back, uncharacteristically. I think it's just because of the pressure.
Dr. Bronson did examine him between the second and third round.
Yeah.
Except he threw his hands up and said, I don't know, I'm a surgeon. I don't know.
His hip is fine.
Yeah.
Did you get mad at him? Did anything he do make you mad? Did you get angry?
I was angry
just by virtue of the fact that I was in it. I know this was a great event to raise money for the ranch and the show, but, it's nothing that I aspire to do. I'm not a WWF loudmouth beating my chest. I'm going to beat this guy up. And suddenly I find myself in the ring with people watching in this death match. And
he did get dragged into this. Bernie did.
Yeah, I never got the sense that he really wanted to do it. But if he was going to do it, he wasn't going to lose.
No. Oh, no, he wasn't. No. But he couldn't lose. That would have been just
he was always a danger. He always had the potential to rock me with his right hand, and that's why no matter how hard I hit him, I couldn't relent because he was still a danger. I mean, so I couldn't, that's what they teach you. These guys taught me, don't give up, don't let up until the fight's over, and that's I followed the rules. By the way, I thought perhaps the saddest moment. Excuse me. I forgot to autograph my cup for Sid's wife. You guys, excuse me. Anybody have a Sharpie? Go ahead, Mike. I just thought the saddest moment was when Sid went over to the neutral corner to be checked by Dr. Bronson, and he was bleeding heavily from the nose. The nose was obviously broken. He was obviously in terrible condition. Dr. Bronson turned him around, pushed him back in the ring with the words, "You should have paid your bill to me." And a kick in the ass.
19th lay out here. I'm just recording.
New Yorkers help each other out. The whole world knows that by now. When the lights went out in
Hankook Tire. For the road of life, Hankook Tire takes you there. On the road to high performance, Hankook also takes you there. Visit HankookTireUSA.com for your local dealer. I'm Tina Cervasio with the Mohegan Sun Fan Highway Patrol.
13 till the hour here in the IMC Morning Program on the radio around the country and on MSNBC Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We have these traffic reporters who do the traffic, which is essentially bad news as far as automobile accidents and those kinds of things. But they always sound so cheerful about everything. I mean, it's just, you're sitting at the Lincoln Tunnel for an hour, and these people are just, I don't know, it's like local news and they announce, fire fatalities in Queens. It's always, they're pretty happy about it.
Don't you always love it when they're never talking about the one you're sitting in?
Oh, absolutely. You can guarantee it. I was on 80, the other day I was on 84 going to Hartford, around 9 o'clock in the morning. The traffic was backed up to Arizona, and it was pouring rain. And do you think they ever mentioned it? Of course not.
Do you have the Easy Pass thing?
Yes.
I sometimes drive around just so I can scoot around like people stuck in traffic with no need to go through the Easy Pass. It's like flipping the finger to everyone you've ever been in traffic with. Yeah. I've wasted hundreds of dollars doing this for no reason at all.
It's another mental patient here on the stage with us. So, just reflecting on what happened here this morning, while it was, I'm not quite sure why we did it. Well, we did it once Sid challenged Bernie. Then we decided that we could raise money for the ranch. That's a good idea. And it seemed like a good idea for a promotion and so on. But when we actually got to the fight and watching Sid really take a horrific beating, it was tough to watch.
It turned into
he's a lovable guy. I mean, really, to be serious just for a moment, he's a sweetheart.
It's almost a Name the Jew promotion. It's turned into a sick event. You just knew that this was going to go right there.
Probably was another way we could have put that.
Well, I'm not saying that it should have been that way, but, the Hebrew Hammer and all that stuff, but that's what it turned into. It's awful. Did you at all, Mike Lupica, feel uneasy in the first minutes of that fight?
Yeah, because I
did too.
I was watching Sid, and you could tell he didn't really, after he got hit a couple times, as anybody would.
Barnicle was getting aroused. You kidding me?
that there was probably a part of him thinking, yes, I want to quit. And then out of the corner of his eye, he sees Don sitting about 20 feet away, thinking, no, I can't quit. So he was big. And then a couple of times when he kind of turned around and turned his back on Bernie, you did have a moment where you say, we could be moving into a Tanya Harding celebrity boxing area. But he stood in there. He took it till
he used to be admired for that. But
yes, he does. No question.
But you actually had some skills, Bernard.
Again, the training, Randy Gordon and Sam Liebman, it really is priceless. You have to get in the ring, get hit, and hit. And once you do it, you find out it's not the end of the world. Getting hit, you have confidence, and
what's a little troubling is how jacked up you are about all of this. And,
I'm supposed to. That was my job. That was my responsibility for this event.
I just can't believe I ever hollered at you. I don't think I'll be doing that again.
You have a gun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I don't think that would work.
I think this will bring a whole new context to people listening when Don threatens to stab him from now on.
Of course, here, but the overriding outcome of all this is that he hadn't learned his lesson.
That is an amazing aspect of the entire day, that he is now promoting a second fight, not with Bernie, but he claims he behaves like he hasn't learned his lesson. I think he's learned his lesson.
I think
What are the odds, though, that within 48 hours he'll be back on the radio claiming that he actually won the fight? Yeah, but he'll never agree to another fight. And not after that. I don't think so.
No,
he knows he can run his mouth safely.
He can't claim he won the fight.
Yeah.
And then we'll show the tape.
Yeah.
So that would be,
Well, for one thing, he showed he does not know boxing etiquette or whatever. When after losing the fight, he says, "Oh, there'll be another day. I want you again." Yeah. There's no wonder he's decide if he wants to give the guy another fight. That would be class.
Well, I've heard guys say that, though.
Really?
Yeah, sure. They get killed in the ring and they claim, runs you. Well,
not while you're choking on your blood. I mean, for God's sakes.
This wasn't De La Hoya, Sugar Shane Mosley, where there seemed to be some doubt at the end about who actually won.
They say so much of life is in the eyes, that you can see it in the eyes. Sid's eyes, 10 seconds into that fight, had the look of a man saying to himself, what have I done? What am I doing? He actually had that look a half an hour before the fight. Yeah, Cap, please. Seriously, he was walking around here and he wouldn't talk to anybody, and he looked very scared. Do you remember Yankel Rosenbaum?
No, Bernie, no.
Can you imagine how he must have felt?
No.
I don't know why we couldn't employ some different kind of example about that.
Well, I think it fits.
I want to thank Jim Pierce and Carl Infantino, Dick James, and Martin Travers, who are people who I've never met. No. Dick James, I know who he is, and a couple other guys I think I've met. They're engineers at WFAN here in New York. And they did do there were 50 mics here, so they did a good job. And, you're always going to have technical difficulties. Well, there's, us or HBO or whomever, so they did a good job. And
the Marine Corps Honor Guard was a great touch.
Great to have them there.
Your Major Terry Whitworth. Your mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law can sing, so she's sung on a number of occasions, and she did a good job, and I was happy about that.
Yep.
So it would have been embarrassing.
A couple hundred mental patients who came here and paid to get in at 6 o'clock this morning.
Well, we sold more tickets than people who showed up. I guess people just want to contribute to the ranch, whatever they want to do, but it was very nice. It was nice of you guys to do it, too. So it's nice of you all to come down and participate in all this. So I was going to say that I guess it was fun, but
Marv Albert,
I just feel bad for Sid. God, man, that's just...
Imagine what he's going to look like tomorrow. He's going to puff up. He's going to be sore and bruised.
He works. He's scheduled to be with us tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he'll show up tomorrow. If he showed up today, he's going to show up tomorrow.
Well, he did show up, and he didn't quit. He didn't cry, and he didn't run.
Those are the kind of expectations we have. At least he showed up.
Well,
God bless him.
He stuck it out. It's not like that's the highest you could set.
No, I understand that. But, I mean, I expected that once he got hit, he would start crying and run. But he didn't run. He tried to fight back.
It would have been very easy and understandable for him to just say to the referee at some point, just whisper out, "Guys, I've had it. He wouldn't have to put his hands up and say no boss. Just let the referee know. It would have been, nobody would have. You know what? It's not really courage.
He's too stupid to realize.
Man, you refuse to be charitable at all in this.
Well, I was charitable earlier, but
see, this is why
I'm starting to think about how he ran his mouth right afterward.
This is why we don't give Ireland back to the Irish.
You know, going in, I thought that it was going to be funnier than it was. I thought there'd be like a comedic aspect to it.
There wasn't one of those deals. No, there was real boxing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Howard Stern deal where you had, you know, the black guy and cabbie and they're flailing at each other. It was two guys actually fighting, so it was good from that standpoint. Well, it raised a lot of money for the ranch, and unfortunately it won't shut Sid up, but I think it might a little. He's
no doubt.
Yeah, he's over there talking to somebody running his mouth.
Well, it's going to be tough talking to actually the lip like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much, and thanks everybody here at Chelsea Piers, and thank you all around the country for listening. I guess the bottom line is it was fun.
Yeah.
All right, see you all tomorrow.
Look at the ball.
Like a fool, I went and stayed too long. I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I'm in the morning.
You know, I
Unleash some shock and awe. You would have been lying on the floor, blood gurgling out of your mouth. Believe me when I tell you, that was the game plan.
Let me just
take it as long as I could and then just devastate you at the end.
If you would have knocked me out in the third round, Bernie, based upon what happened the first 2.5 rounds, there would have been very little shock and awe.
Again, thank your mother for the bouquet of flowers she sent me.
And Lee Davis was hysterical.
Just hysterical. Midway through the second round, he turned to me and Teddy Atlas, and he started giving me the throat cut signal, stop the fight, stop the fight. And, I wasn't going to do that, so, yeah, he was pretty hysterical.
Not the most calm and assured leader we've ever had. Radio station.
It wasn't a badminton game, for God's sake.
he's getting hit. Oh, God.
Anyway, it's 23 till the hour here in the Irish Point program. We'll do some commercials, and then we'll come back and we'll have the fight for you. So.
Off the lights.
And it's so tired.
The party's over.
Oh, isn't that true?
They say that all good things must end. Let's call it a night. The party's over, and tomorrow starts the same old thing again. I'm in the morning.
Governor Gray Davis he's desperately waging an all-out campaign, obviously, to win the recall, and he accused Arnold Schwarzenegger of admiring Sid Rosenberg's physique in an obscure Teutonic bodybuilding newsletter from 15 years ago. Stumping in San Francisco, Arnold responded, "I've never met Sid. And from everything I've heard, he's a despicable person, someone who is certainly not worthy of being admired, and all that."
Please welcome also Bo Dietl, whose parents are sponsored by NetJets. Enjoy Pots and Pans icky sauce that has thumbs in it. Good morning, Mr. Dietl.
Good morning. I want to say hello to all my Jewish friends and wish them
they're not listening. They're not supposed to listen.
My Jewish friends are listening.
Hey, try calling Chernow. See if he answers the phone.
You know something? To get back to Siegfried and Roy, I got to stick up for them, right? I had taken the kids.
Hey, don't whack the tiger on the head with a mic.
No, let me tell you something. The show is not the same one you saw. I saw the other one years ago. They put together an extravaganza. They had over 100 people in the show. I was there 4 weeks ago. It was one of the greatest shows in Vegas right now. It's different than what you saw. And I tell you the truth, I always thought them Tigers were drugged out. But obviously they didn't put enough juice in this one.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, I tell you, and these Tigers were 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds, big giant ones. And we wish that the little dark-haired guy there, the little guy there, gets better. Yeah, they're kind of good. They're about 70 years old, these guys, and they're still kicking butt there. Yeah. You got to give them respect.
Well,
they live with each other, you know, they're into each other and all that, but which is very beautiful.
What do you mean by that?
No, it's a beautiful relationship.
Well, why does that have to be part of the
All I said was I wish the guy gets better because it's a great show.
No, but they start talking about him being...
so what? You got a problem with that?
You brought it up.
Well, I'm just saying they're two homosexuals, and they live together, and they're very nice, and I have to like them. And I tell you the truth, I'd break bread with them. You know, I'd have dinner with them anytime.
Well, of course.
And my
I'm sure
kids,
you would.
They've given entertainment.
That's the Tiger felt.
They've given entertainment to my 4 children for many years, the older ones and the younger ones. I hope he gets better.
But how traumatized were the kids sitting in the audience When it's
They thought it was part of the show. I was listening to the news reports, Charles.
Yeah.
And they thought it was part of the show when he dragged them off the stage. They thought he was kidding around with them, like when a lion takes its little coupling, or an alligator picks up its little alligators.
Right.
And they mouth like this, and they walk along like this, and the little alligators don't get killed by the big alligator with the teeth. Did you ever watch that on
They're very gentle.
Yes.
Yes.
And they actually...
What the hell is happening here?
And the blood and the guts didn't give anything away?
No, the
all
blood,
part of the show. That's all part of the show.
Just think about, Patrick, did you know on this show, Mr. Imus and Mr. Charles ordered drugs online? They got a bill before Congress.
What's this whole online drug thing?
All right, let me just talk.
Charles ordered Vicodin and Valium and got the Vicodin, right?
Got the Vicodin, and I think the Valium...
Did you have a prescription, Charles?
Pardon me?
Did you have a prescription?
No, of course not.
No prescription?
We're calling Chernoff, see if he answers the phone.
Okay.
Congressman Goodnick.
Wait a minute.
Hello?
Hi, it's Imus. How are you?
Hi. I wasn't supposed to answer the phone.
You're not supposed to answer the phone, are you?
Uh-oh. Tricked again.
Huh?
I was asleep. I forgot.
Well, no, but I mean...
Oh, man.
Either you're celebrating Yom Kippur or you're not, so...
Yeah, we are, but I was asleep.
Sacrilege.
I was asleep. I have this, knee-jerk reaction to grab the phone.
Anyway, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
Good.
Now you have to atone for this.
I do. I know.
Where's Mark?
Marcus is
We'll have to get
not
bacon.
answering the phone, and he's up. Yeah, he's been up for a while.
Did he run?
Did he run today?
No.
Hadn't run yet?
He didn't run?
No. Mm-mm.
Is he going?
Did you run?
No.
Did you run from him?
Are you guys gonna run?
I don't know. We're going to celebrate quietly. So.
Yeah, but I mean, he's...
he can't break
And
his
he tells
record.
me I have to get off the phone.
He does?
Yes,
Or, let me talk to him.
No, he won't talk.
Okay, well, happy Yom Kippur.
Thanks.
Okay. Mark Chernoff's wife was she's a science teacher, isn't she?
Sounds very lovely.
There's a nice lady.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Brilliant woman. Brilliant.
Please.
You know, Donnie, getting back to what we
But they're not supposed to answer the phone.
No.
Yeah, but she committed a sin, but that's okay. It was unbeknownst. It was provoked by you, who was a sinner.
How am I a sinner? I called him and I'm supposed to answer the phone.
Okay.
Just want to call and wish him a happy Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
You know what this is all about? You know what this is all about,
Call us
Patrick?
trick at you.
The drug thing? Or?
Yeah, the drug thing.
By the way, have you been spending a little time with L. Rush, though? Rush Limbaugh?
Rush Limbaugh could have ordered his drugs online and didn't have to send the old maid out there.
Yeah.
I proved last week Rush didn't have to go on the cheating side of town and send that woman out there. He could have went online. He could have got his OxyContin, anything he wanted.
I need to see.
What else do you want?
I don't want anything.
I'll get you anything.
You need to bring these Vicodin in, and we'll take them, and we'll see if they're real.
Absolutely.
Okay, they are. They are.
They are.
The pharmacists over here.
Now, where did they come from? Did they come from a foreign country? Did you know?
I don't know.
I'd like to get the packaging on them.
I'll bring you the package.
This show is listened by every United States Senator, every United States Congress.
That's outrageous that you could order Vicodin, which is a controlled drug.
You probably get it from Canada, right?
It proves.
Well, so's Valium.
It proves what I've been saying here for months. They have to defeat this Goodnick bill. These congressmen and senators listen to...
You shouldn't be able to do that.
If they let this bill go through, you know what happens, Charles? It opens up even more so. And the counterfeiting of these drugs from Pakistan all over the world.
Time out here just a second, guys. 31 after the hour. Here's Chuck with a brief look at the headlines of what's going on in the world.
All right, I'm man. As the candidates enter the final day of campaigning in California's gubernatorial recall, a weekend poll suggests Arnold Schwarzenegger's support may be slipping a bit because of the 1,500 women who have come forward to say, yep, I was groped by Arnie.
They almost need T-shirts for this.
Yeah, they do.
Man, somebody's probably got to have them.
I survived an Arnie groping. I got groped. Yeah. Newsweek magazine reporting what it calls a detailed account of what several people close to Kobe Bryant believe really happened that led to him being charged with the rape of a 19-year-old Colorado woman.
What do they say happened?
They say the following, that he invited this girl to his room in Vail, where he was staying and where she worked, and when she was off work.
Sure.
Newsweek reports sources say the two embarked on a consensual sexual encounter, but at some point she started yelling for him to stop, which, according to its sources, he did. A friend, though, of the accuser tells a very different story, requesting anonymity, this person, telling Newsweek she had spoken with the accuser and the accuser's ex-boyfriend. Sure. According to the friend, the accuser was attacked the moment she walked through the door. Meanwhile, Bryant is back with his teammates at training camp in Hawaii.
I've investigated this, and you know what happened? No, seriously, what it's all about is this. There was some consensual stuff going on, and then he looked to do some annual intercourse. in the annual intercourse, that's when he ripped the anal wall out of the thing, and it had to be stitched up. And he forced himself. And you want to know something? When a woman says no, the woman says no. And if you force yourself on that woman and you try to do annual intercourse, and you hurt her, then you've raped her, and that's charged as charged.
There's two very different stories. One consensual, one that he had done.
How can you consensually have an annual intercourse?
I'm only saying there are two stories.
Once a year,
one consensual, one that he did not.
It's clearly an ugly situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I tell you what, the nice young man really ruined his life. Really,
33 minutes after the hour here on the
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people.
Tell your mama, tell your pa, gonna see you right now, this song, no. Mama, they don't do right.
This week is National Fire Prevention Week. Did you know that most fatal fires occur in a home? Did you also know that fire sprinkler system...
Climb the hill above the lake, and secret thoughts were said aloud. We watched the faces in the clouds until the clouds had blown away. Were we ever somewhere else? You know it's hard to say. I never saw blue like that before. Across the sky, around the world, you've given me all you have and more. And no one else has ever shown me how to see the world the way I see it now. Oh, I never saw blue like that. I can't believe a month ago I was alone. I didn't know you, I'd never seen you or heard your name. And even now, I'm so amazed. It's like a dream, it's like a rainbow, it's like the rain. Some things are the way they are, and words just can't explain. I never saw blue like that before. Across the sky, around the world, you've given me all you have and more. And no one else has ever shown me how to see the world the way I see it now. I never saw blue like that before. And it feels like now.
She is terrific.
Strong, huh?
Oh, she is unbelievable.
Strong, huh?
Wow.
Look at that voice.
Oh, my God.
Man, that is a great song.
Get me that CD,
Who wrote that
bro.
song? My God. I got a couple for you. A guy named Jeff Franzel wrote it.
Beautiful.
Holy
Jesus, that's fabulous.
Nice tune. Joe's Pub Tonight.
One member of the family
where
has some
is
talent.
Oh, my God, that is great.
Fabulous. Public Theater. You know where the Public Theater is downtown on Lafayette Street?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's right next to that.
Man, she has got a great voice.
Great record. My
Good stuff there.
Who produced that? Aretha Martin.
Aretha Martin, who produced Nora Jones's record, won the Grammy for that, produced Aretha.
One of the more famous record producers in the history of Atlantic Records, by the way.
He left Atlantic, and he's now with
he's running this label, Manhattan Records, which is an
That is great, McEnroe.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for playing it.
That is great.
Appreciate that.
Smoking looking? Wow.
That will be fine, Bo.
Settle down, Bo.
She did a Billy Joel song called "And So It Goes." We're gonna
great song.
We'll listen to that coming up. Anyway, it's 16 now until the hour.
Up my game and I'ma head out west where real women come equipped with scripts and fake breasts. Find a nest in the hill, chill like Flint. Buy an old drop top, find a spot to pin. Then I'm a kid, rock it up and down your block with a bottle of scotch and watch lots of crotch. Buy a yacht with a flag saying chillin' the most. Then rock that bitch up and down the coast. Give a toast to the sun, drink with the stars. Get thrown in the mix and tossed out of bars. Sister Tijuana, I wanna roam, find Motown, tell the crew to come back home. Start an escort service for all the right reasons and set up shop at the top of Four Seasons. Kid rockin', I'm the real McCoy, and I'm headed out west because I wanna be a cowboy, baby, with a top left back and the sunshine shining. Cowboy, baby, West Coast sinner with the boom. I wanna be a cowboy, baby. Ride that night while I sleep all day. Cowboy, baby. I can smell the beat from a mile away. Cowboy. Out of wood and running. I'm in the morning.
You're not just in charge, you're responsible. The buck doesn't just stop at your